right, everyone. Welcome to another episode of David's Saturday Night Sit Back, and Happy New Year. This morning, sitting back with me is Dave Frank. Dave graduated from the University of South Carolina, their Darla Moore School of Business in 2012 with a business degree in marketing, sports, and entertainment. Dave's gone from being an intern with Game Day to being an account representative, account manager, to now a senior account manager, and he's also the founder of Frankly Hired, a consulting and coaching firm. He also volunteered with Austin Digital Jobs for several years, and he has roots in the East Coast, a decade spent on the West Coast, and now several years in Austin, Texas, while also visiting places such as Charlotte, Nashville, Alabama, Florida, Nevada, Chicago, New York, Boston, Melbourne, Australia, Hawaii, the Virgin Islands, Mexico City, and Portugal. So I believe that Dave will bring a really unique cultural perspective to the podcast this morning. When he's not working, you can find Dave golfing, riding motorcycles, playing hockey, pickleball, kickball, hitting the gym or a CrossFit box, and other community-centric activities. Dave, I'm stoked to have you here to talk about community, finding purpose, and the concept that happiness is only real when shared. Welcome to your episode of David's Saturday Night Sit Back.
Thank you, David. I'm looking forward to this. I didn't know you did all that research on me.
I like digging on people,
All
man.
right, that was fun to hear that little recap.
A little 30-second Snapchat of your
brought back
your
some
life.
good memories there.
What's one of the memories it brought back?
Oh, the motorcycle. Let's see, the motorcycle, all of the travel that you just rattled off, CrossFit, which I haven't done in a few years. There were some fun times there, some good competitions across the country that were fun. Good people. Yeah, man, that was cool.
Dude, yeah, and that was only the places you listed on
Yeah,
Instagram.
that's.
Sorry,
I
may have
also,
missed
as
some
you were going
places.
through that too, I was realizing that I was like, there's some other ones. I was like, dang, I should have probably posted more photos.
You did have a one thing I noticed was that you were pretty consistent posting on Instagram, and then you took a little 2-year break from October 8th, 2017. I can't talk. I'm so wired between the coffee and the
That cold brew, yeah.
You took a 2-year break in 2017, and then you posted one time in March of 2019, and then you didn't post again until September 11th, 2022. Was that just was that intentional, or did you just?
I forgot my password. No, I'm just kidding. No, man, social media is such a weird thing for me. It's to be starting off being a little vulnerable, I guess. I don't know. There's something about posting, photos and things like that, and just having it available out there for everyone to take a look at. I feel like social media has just so much judgment across a lot of it that takes place, and yeah, it just kind of took a break. It was kind of nice to be in my own space and kind of do my own thing and not have to worry about posting, and the people that I care about and want to be around and all that, like, they know what I'm doing. So
yeah,
it was fun. I enjoyed it.
I'm the same way, man. Where one thing that's cool is I found a website where you can post everything to Instagram, TikTok, and all those other sites. So even though it looks like I'm extremely active on social media, I rarely go on it just because it's so, just like everyone, it's so easy to go on there and scroll through nothing for an hour.
Doom scrolling.
Yeah.
How much time do you just waste out of nowhere?
Yeah. And the other thing for me is, even at 37 years old, if I start getting onto other dudes' fitness pages and seeing that, like, their six-pack is a little bit better than mine, or their arms are a little bit bigger, dude, I still judge myself.
Totally.
At 37.
Totally.
I'm like, why am I still doing this?
Yeah. And what is it? The thief of joy is comparison, or whatever. Comparison is the thief of joy, or whatever. That saying? And it's like, you don't need to compare yourself to everyone. As long as you're making progress and you feel good about it, like, who cares? Yeah. And then you realize too, have you seen on Instagram there's Goob? Have you followed Goob before on Instagram?
No.
All right. So he's he claims, is not an influencer, right? Probably a couple 100,000 or so on Instagram, but very, very, very cool. What he does is he goes through a lot of the fitness influencers pages, and then other individuals that are posting on Instagram and, affiliated with businesses and things like that. And he goes through these photos and he'll point out where they edited certain things, what they pulled out. And So like, he'll catch people from like big name brands, Olympians that have gone through there and edited their photos, people that just won pro shows that pulled in like their waist or made their delts slightly larger with the photos that came from the pro show that they won. It's wild. And then I mean, think about bodybuilding and fitness, right? A lot of it brings in so many people that naturally have body issues or just, a little self-conscious in certain areas.
Yep.
And it tends to draw a lot of those folks in. So then naturally, and once you start lifting, right, and you start to see the change, you're always going to be looking for the next thing. There's always going to be the body dysmorphia that comes with it. And, you're never going to look good enough again. And that's when people fall into that trap of editing their stuff and all that. And I don't know, it's toxic, man. That's partially why I don't really enjoy social media all that much. Like I get caught in the doom scrolling just like everybody else. I enjoy seeing what friends and family are posting and the folks that put out some good educational stuff on whatever topics I'm interested in at that point in time. But some of the other stuff, man, it's toxic.
I went into the locker room a couple weeks ago, and one of my buddies was editing a picture of himself, and I made a comment. I was like, I don't even remember what I said, but then I went into the sauna for 25 minutes, and I came back out, and he was still on his phone, and I walked up behind him and peeked over his shoulder, and he was still editing the same photo.
Gosh.
And I was like, dude, how long you been working on that for? And he's like, couple minutes. I was like,
minutes.
It's been over 25.
Yeah,
I just did a 25-minute sauna session. And he turned his phone off and literally just put his hands on. He was like,
yeah, that's what happens. Yeah, you don't realize how much time has passed. Yeah, it's like when you get in bed and then it's like, oh, I'm not super tired yet, but let me just check something out. And it's 3 hours later and it's 1 in the morning. You're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Where does time go? You're like, I've got to get up in 6 hours and go to work.
Yeah,
it's awful. Yeah, no, that's funny. It's one of those things, man. People get lost in it. It's interesting. If you ever taken a look at the settings in your phone for app usage, you ever taken a look at app usage in your phone?
I do and I don't. I get the weekly report on Sunday.
Yeah.
I don't want to look at it.
Exactly.
I'm just and part of it is because I just never click my phone off. I just leave it open. I don't know why, but I just,
Yeah. Oh, especially with something like this, right? Like,
do you look at yours?
I have, and now I know not to look at it.
What's your highest app recently?
Oh, it's definitely Instagram. It's got to be Instagram or Reddit. I've actually, over the last year and a half or so, I've gotten really into Reddit. Which is funny because structurally, when you look at like the design of Reddit, it's a forum based. It's structured like a forum, right? And when was the last time you were ever on like forums online? But that engagement and the structure of it, I don't know, I find it really enjoyable. And there's just so many topics and conversations that you can start and jump into. And, you basically anything you can do. If you want to review on anything, there's thousands of threads about that product or whatever it is on Reddit. It's just cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to take you back in time a little bit.
Oh, boy. I'm a little nervous now. What time are we going to?
Maybe like 25 years ago.
Okay.
Remember this picture?
Oh my God, yeah.
You looked away so quick.
I should have blocked all of these photos, man.
Dude, sick cut, man.
Yeah, you like that? Yeah, it was cool. That was all the rage in 1996.
Yeah. Where'd you grow up? Was it Jersey or where?
Yeah, so I grew up in a town called Oceanport, New Jersey. About an hour and 15 minutes away from New York City, about a mile off the beach, central Jersey, right on the river, and then it just kind of outletted basically the river, outletted like kind of around what's called Sandy Hook, and then that just kind of goes right into the ocean there, and then you can just take a ferry right across to New York. Small beach town. We had a racetrack. Our town was 3 square miles and 6,000 total people. And in the summer, those 3 square miles would take like 45 minutes to get across town.
What kind of mischief did you get into as a kid?
Oh, there's a lot of stuff I can't talk about on here.
I'll give you one that that might help a little. Well, not help, but one of our favorite things to do during Christmas time was we'd go reindeer stacking.
Okay.
You know what that is?
No.
So you know how people put like little reindeers out in their front yard during Christmas time?
I feel like I know where this is going.
Yeah, you do. So we'd run around and put them all in like sexual positions.
Yep,
So it looked like they were
I could have guessed that. As soon as you started going down that path, I was like, I would have done that same thing as a kid, man.
And the only sad part was like, we never got to see how people reacted, because then obviously we went to the next house and we'd do it to like 10 houses and then we all go home.
Yep.
And then the next day we'd be running around the neighborhood or biking around the neighborhood, and they'd all just be back in their normal positions.
Yeah.
But we never got to see like, how did they
because
react?
They don't want their children to come out and see these things and then have to describe it to them. Like, what is this? Oh, you are far too young for that.
What about you? Was there one thing you could talk about that you
guys
like to do?
No, I was just kind of kidding. So, did you guys ever do Mischief Night here? Where did you grow up first?
Northern California.
Okay, so I don't think Mischief Night's a thing in a lot of states except for probably in the Northeast. Night before Halloween, you're a teenager, everyone starts to go out and you throw toilet paper in the trees, you're smashing pumpkins, and like you're doing things that you're trying not to do too much damage, obviously, right? But you're certainly a nuisance.
Yeah.
So that was always a fun night when we were 12, 13, 14, kind of getting in that phase where you start to rebel a little bit and do things. We also, grew up in a fairly wealthy town. And the neighboring towns around there were very similar. So it was very much, like parents' money. We were at the beach. We'd sneak away to the beach, skip school, go to the beach. At nighttime, we'd hop over the seawall. 'Cause in New Jersey, you typically would have to pay for the beach, even though it's it's public. It's just there. But in New Jersey, in a lot of places, you either have your beach clubs or you pay for public access. But being locals, we would kind of know where to hop over the seawalls. And then at night, we'd kind of hang out there when we were in high school and drink and just kind of party on the beach and do that in the woods or, things like that. What else? What else is some stuff I will not talk about here that probably stressed my parents out far more than it should have, that they still remind me of to this day, 25 years later. No, so it was also, we also just played a lot of sports growing up too. We would, I'd name a sport, I probably played it at some point fairly competitively. Played a lot of paintball also. So middle school, we would go to, bring our paintball guns to school, which probably wasn't the safest and definitely is not allowed nowadays.
Can you imagine?
Nowadays you're on the news. Yep.
Dude, it's crazy. Like, I don't think bringing guns into school campus, any kind of guns, even like Nerf guns, was never okay.
Yeah.
But like it does like, I don't know about you, but I'm glad that I grew up in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Things just seem like a lot more relaxed in the sense of like,
it's a different time.
Yeah, we could just like the playing outside example. And not to say like kids don't do that now, but my parents, I don't want to say they didn't care. They definitely cared about me, but like they never had any concerns if I disappeared for 5 hours. Right. It was just like, he's doing something out there, whether it's paintball, basketball, like
he's getting into
fine.
trouble, but it's healthy. He's outside. He's not playing video games all day in front of the TV.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's not scrolling on Instagram all day.
You have one sister, right, Erica?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. She's actually coming into town tomorrow.
Nice.
For Christmas.
Did you guys get along pretty well?
So interestingly enough, we are about 11 or 12 years apart. So for the most part, by the time I was 5, she was already on her way to college. So most of the time, I would say we probably grew up only children for a good portion of our childhoods. She went to college at 17 in Virginia while we were living in New Jersey. So I was 5. At 10 is when she graduated, and then she moved to New York. So we actually didn't really become very close until I graduated college and then moved out to San Diego. And then we were maybe about 10 minutes apart from each other at that point. And at that point, with our age difference, right, I was obviously more mature. We were able to go out, go get drinks, have fun. We had a lot of commonalities at that point that allowed us to really connect quite well. And now we talk every day. And it's funny, so we'll be, if I've got a day at work or something like that, or something happened, I got a vent, I'll give her a ring, and it's you'll never forget, and my partner will be in the car, and I'll hang up. I'm like, sorry, like that was a quick rant, and he looks at me and his. Yeah, you guys, he literally said this to me one day. He's like, you're not even like a chop off the old block or whatever it is. He's like, you guys are the same block, or, you are cut from the same exact cloth.
Yeah.
Because she does the same thing. And it's just, and it's just fast. And it's kind of like the New Jersey, and we're kind of on the go and a little wound up. And yeah, it's been really enjoyable over the last, was it 10, 15 years or so, just kind of being able to connect like that. And now her and I actually travel quite a bit together. So, aside from Frankly Hired, I work remote as a senior client success manager for a software company, manage a smaller team, and it's cool. It's fully remote, right? I do miss a lot of the in-person aspect of being in the office and whatnot, but there's so much more that I can also accomplish outside of during those hours, just because I'm home and I've got the flexibility of being able to go elsewhere. So we usually try and do one international trip a year. You mentioned Portugal.
Yep.
We did Portugal and Spain for her birthday 2 years ago, and we actually paired it up. I had a buddy that I used to work with that was getting married in Barcelona, so he had moved over there. So we went out there and kind of celebrated her birthday, and her and I bounced around for 2 weeks that ended up in Barcelona for my buddy's wedding. It was so cool. It was such a great trip.
Do you have outside of the U.S., do you have a place that's your favorite?
Oh, man. Yeah, there's so many. I think it's oh boy. Yeah.
Well, could I ask
right,
you about one real quick?
Yeah.
I've always wanted to go to Australia.
Okay.
I don't
cool.
know why.
Australia's
I just
cool.
do.
Yeah.
How was that trip?
It was great. So it was actually, funny enough, it was actually paid for by work. At the time, I was working with a company, and I was managing our clients that were based in Australia and Singapore, and Hong Kong. So a couple of maybe twice a year or so, I'd fly out, go meet with clients, hang out for the weekend. I was there enough that I knew some people. The clients were always super appreciative of me coming from the States to come out and go see them and talk strategy and business stuff. So even on the weekends and stuff, we'd hang out, go out to dinners at night. I had friends there at that point as well. So it was kind of bouncing around through Sydney, Brisbane, and Melbourne, just kind of doing 2 weeks at a time. And, man, it was cool. And what was cool about it is, Sydney is different than Melbourne, and Brisbane is completely different from all three, from the two of them, and it's Brisbane's very much kind of like the party town, Sydney's very much a business district, city life, also on the water, super cool, great food, had kangaroo.
No way.
Yeah.
What it tastes
there's
like?
no chance I'm going to go to Australia and not eat kangaroo.
I didn't know they ate it. That's awesome.
It's beef. It's a little more gamey. So basically think like a steak, a little bit more gamey. Yeah, it was interesting. I wasn't really sure what I was expecting, and then you eat it, and you're like, oh, I would totally just eat this on a regular basis if they weren't really cute and violent at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, when we were in Sydney, ended up doing, so there's the Blue Mountains out there, a big wine region. So we ended up going out there, we did a wine tour, that was fun, and then we actually did abseiling, which is basically rappelling down big mountains and rocks and stuff, and jumping through waterfalls, and it was awesome. I felt bad though, the guy that I was with out there, that was doing it with me from work, we had both bought GoPros, so he was filming me as we were climbing down and propelling down these rocks and stuff like that through waterfalls, and I was filming him, right?
Yeah.
So then we were going to swap footage. I left the GoPro in the airport at customs when I was declaring it. Yeah, so I got all my footage. He didn't get any of his footage, though. I felt so bad about that. It was such a bummer. Yeah, it's cool. If you get the chance, definitely go there. It's not too different. Well, at least in those areas, it's not very different from a San Diego or San Francisco. There's a lot of comparisons. And I actually almost moved out there in 2016. I was 26 at the time. We were starting to expand, and I was managing those clients anyway. we didn't have an entity set up there yet, so it would have been contract work, and I already had shares and equity in the company, so I would have had to kind of forfeit those and then rehire as a contractor, and it would have been messy. So I passed on it, but yeah, man, that was cool, and the fact that work paid for most of it, you can't really beat that. Yeah. That was fun, and then went from there. Met a client in Hong Kong, so the company Cathay Pacific, the airlines.
Yep.
Yeah, so that was neat because they flew me on an employee pass, so I got bumped up to first class.
Heck yeah.
It was a weekend. I'm 26 years old. I'm probably a little bit hungover from being out the night before in Sydney. Get to the airport, I'm in sweatpants like I am now, and the desk agents, they look at me, they're like, you have to go change. You're like, you can't get on a flight like that. You're on an employee pass. You're in first class. Like, you can't do that.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm just like, all right. So I changed, and I'm like, damn it. Like, this, I got a 10-hour flight ahead of me from Sydney into Hong Kong. This is not really what I want to be all dressed up.
Yeah.
So I had to go get a sport coat, like a blazer, and throw on some jeans and dress shoes. And, it was still, full course meal. They gave me the menu. You get the high-end drinks, cocktails. They take my coat. Mr. Frank, welcome to Cathay Pacific. We're so excited to have you on board today. Full layback. It was a cool experience. Spent 4 or 5 days in Hong Kong, bouncing around. Went to a lot of the markets. Still got my knockoff Rolex. No one questions it. No one questions it, man. That's all that matters. It only cost me $10, but no one questions it. I don't even think it tells time anymore.
Do you still wear it though?
Every once in a while, I gotta bust it out. Yeah. I'm not a big watch guy, but like, how do you not get it? It's fun. And then ended up I still remember this. So I ended up at some restaurant, totally some back street. I'm the only American in there.
Yeah.
Menu's full on Chinese. I couldn't even order a glass of water because I didn't know what to say.
Right.
They didn't understand me. Like the only way I got my food was by pointing out the photos. I'm like, and I didn't know what it is. It was so cool, and they give me like the paper receipt. I'm trying to expense it for work. I can't. So I'm like out front of there taking a photo of the restaurant to prove it's a real thing.
Yeah.
It was really cool. Yeah, that was a good time.
I love food, so I have to ask, in Hong Kong, what was was there anything not kangaroo, but like something? Did you eat
Something
anything
different
that you can't really find in the U.S. or that you can?
Not so much there. What I would say though, the wildest thing, Thailand, Bangkok. So I had to skip to a different location. But yeah, the stuff in Hong Kong, phenomenal food. I don't think there was anything though that I was like kind of blown away. Like, I can't believe I'm eating this right now.
Yeah.
But absolutely phenomenal. However, in Thailand, so did 2 weeks backpacking through Thailand. Guy that I was with, we traveled out together. We got a 2 flight from out of LA to Bangkok. At this point, I was in San Diego, so we took the train up to LAX, fly to LAX and to Bangkok. 2 weeks later, we had a return flight from Bangkok. We had nothing else planned for 2 weeks, and we had a backpack each. Like, that was it. And it was, we're in line at LAX. Meet these 2 ladies behind us. Like, oh, we're going to Bangkok too. Like, then we're going to fly here. You guys should come and visit us. And I'm like, all right, cool,
Yep.
So we get into Bangkok. We spend 3 days there. End up at this food festival. Random, like, we're in one of the tuk-tuks, the little carts.
Yep.
Had a couple drinks. So we're like, yeah, we're having fun. We're like, what's that? Let's go. There's lights. People look like they're having fun. It looked like a fair. And we get in there, and I went to school in South Carolina, right? So, like you mentioned in the intro, this lady had a Gamecock t-shirt on. I'm like, yeah, taking photos with her. She's like, she has no idea what the hell is happening, Can I curse on here? Is that all right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure.
I only hesitated because I just like to make sure we're past the 10-minute mark.
Oh, okay.
Because YouTube's finicky.
Interesting.
So you can drop all the fuck, shit, spams,
all
whatever
right.
you want.
I'm going to try and not do it too frequently, but it does come out. She has no idea what the hell's happening, right? And she's looking at me like, who the fuck is this guy? This drunk American. He's taking photos with me, pointing at my shirt, And then, so we get in there. they had this archery game set up, right? So I'm like, yeah, man, that's cool. Let's shoot this bow and arrow in the middle of Bangkok at this target, you know?
Yep.
And I look over and there's a guy who's like filming the festival and he's like in my face following me around. And I'm like, yeah, you know, there's still photos probably on my phone somewhere of it. And I'm like raising my hands, you know, screaming in the camera. It was definitely obnoxious, but it was fun. But to the point of your question about food, that's like crazy. Scorpion.
Oh.
Yeah.
How'd it taste?
Chewy, very crispy. It didn't really taste like a whole lot. There's a whole lot of it stuck in my teeth, though.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that I definitely don't need to eat it again. I probably wouldn't eat it again, but I mean, how do you not? You know, they're just selling it at one of the food stands, and I was like, let's go for it. I was like, this isn't dangerous, right?
Yeah.
Nah, you're okay. All right, cool. Let's do it.
Yeah,
So,
that'd be my only thing is just to see other people eating it first. I'm like, all right,
yeah.
all these other people are eating it. They clearly are still alive and not getting sick. But yeah, dude, I would try scorpion. I'd try kangaroo. I tried alligator in 2021.
Alligator's good too.
It was so good.
Yeah.
We just got. It was like I think it was one of their appetizers, and they literally just brought out 8 pieces of alligator and
alligator bites. Alligator bites, right?
Yeah.
It's
delicious.
good stuff. Yep, it's good stuff. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's like crazy that I've eaten. I too love food, and it's always funny, right? So I'm gonna ask you a question.
Okay.
What's your favorite? What's the best meal that you've ever had, and why?
I don't know if as far as the quality of the food, the most recent one that comes to mind when you said the best and why, is that me and a bunch of friends got together for Terry Black's right before Thanksgiving. And it wasn't even the fact that it was Terry Black's. It was just the fact, dude, I was so happy to see my boys.
Yep.
It was 6 dudes. We all go to the same gym. We go out for a meal probably 2 or 3 times a year. And it's just so much fun to just tell stories and laugh, and you're just sitting there with like the people that you love the most on the planet.
100%.
And it's just like, this is my family, you know, like we're not blood related, but like these are my dogs.
And the reason why I asked that question is because food is about the experience, right? You think about meals and the best meal ever, and it's like, there's a couple of that are like knock your socks off good, right? You're like, holy shit, I took a bite, I closed my eyes, I take it in and look up, I'm like, what the hell was that, you know? But when you ask that question, you get brought back to the experience of it. And for you, it's with your boys and like, you know, it's the stories that go in it. We haven't seen each other. It's a fun time.
Yeah.
And that's why I love food, because food creates memories and experiences and brings people together. It's just, man, I love food, man.
I'll tell you a quick story, and then I want to throw the question back at you. But you ever been to Eddie V's?
Yeah.
I don't go there.
You know, it's a chain, right?
Yes.
Okay, because most people in Austin are like, oh, you got to go to Eddie V's. I'm like, that's a chain. I've been in the one in San Diego several times.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's good food. It's delicious. I love it there. One of the things, though, the last time we went that made that very memorable was while we're eating, our server is named Ken. Shout out Ken at Eddie V's.
My pop's name.
And at one point, we're about to leave, and we hear someone start shouting like, "Help him! Help him!" And do you ever see Groundhog Day?
Yeah. Oh,
do you remember the part where Bill Murray like has to run up to the guy because he's choking? So we look over, and one of the servers goes up behind this dude that's choking, and he like puts his arms underneath his armpits and lifts up his arms, and then we see Ken take his palm and just go bam and starts pounding into like the guy's stomach. And then just like in Groundhog Day, after like 2 or 3 hits, the guy spits out some meat, and Ken sort of puts his hand on his shoulder. He's like, "You okay?" And the guy's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "All right, cool, have a good rest of your meal." And then restaurant just goes back to normal, as if it's an everyday occurrence.
As if someone just didn't almost die in front of you while you're eating your Caesar salad.
So we were sitting there just like sort of shocked, because me and my friends, we're not firefighters, we're not paramedics, so we're not really around death all that often. So to see this guy,
most people aren't normally.
So Ken,
I should hope not.
Ken comes back a minute later with our dessert, just acting like literally like it's just an everyday occurrence, and we're just like, dude, you just saved that guy's life.
Ken,
he's like,
you're a fucking hero, man. I don't know if you know this, Ken, but you are now alive. You're going like your memory lives on forever.
We just upped your tip 5%.
We're gonna reference you in a podcast 2 years later. You don't don't know this. Maybe you'll see it, but you're a hero.
Yeah, no, dude, it was wild. Great meal. Probably some of the best lamb I've ever had in my life. It just fell off the bone, and the way they served it was very just like you'd expect when you're paying too much money, I think, for some lamb. What about you? What's one of your favorite meals?
Best meal. So, I'll say, all right. So it was in Sydney, and it was in this town, like section of Sydney called Balmain. And we kind of found this place. So it was me and my boss at the time, and like I love restaurants, right? So he enjoyed, and we both had very similar interests when it comes to food and speakeasies and like whiskey, like nice cocktails, right? So we always really enjoyed traveling together. So whenever I was traveling, he'd always try and travel with me, because like he knows a month in advance I've got reservations at the exact spot that like I want. I've got the speakeasy reservation lined up. Like, we're having fun. We're doing nice things, you know? So found this restaurant. It was Balmain 619, I think it was what it was, which is funny because it's also the area code for San Diego, which is where we were living at the time. It was a 12-course tasting menu, mom and pop shop, like 12 tables. Totally wouldn't expect it when you walked in. We get in there. The wife is at the front seating the tables and bringing out the food. The husband's in the back, is the chef. Really cute place, casual in a way that it was like, it's nice but casual, like you don't feel out of place if you're not super dressed up for it. Probably a 3.5 hour meal. And I like those, like, it's an experience, right?
Yes.
So like I love tasting menus. If I see it, I'm gonna go for it, because dude, like, they know what's best, how it should be do it up, blow my mind. So we get here, every single course, 12 courses, was some sort of liquor infusion with it. So like the first dish was just like, it was a gin infused oyster. So it was like, gin was in the ice chips that were sitting on top of the oyster that were part of the bite that you were supposed to take. And it was fantastic. And then, everything throughout had some sort of liquor infused without it. And it's funny, so it's like two grown men sitting at this table, and we're, 3.5 hours in. We would take a bite, both of us, head down, eyes closed, not saying a word to each other. 5 seconds, look up. Holy shit. Oh my gosh. We did the wines with it and all of that, the wine pairings, and they were explaining everything, we both just got our phones out filming it, like, oh, this is so cool, and like trying to remember what it was so we can get back to the States and try and get the wine again. Then we ended up we were the last two in there. We ended up hanging out with them, with the husband and the wife, as they were preparing. They moved us up to the bar, so we're just kind of kicking it with them, hanging out. They're kind of closing up and like testing some stuff for the following day, because they were doing something else. So they had like new desserts and dishes that they were testing, if they wanted to roll it out or not. So me and him were sitting up the bar, we're hanging it, we're kicking it with them, shooting, they're bringing out stuff, we keep tasting it. And man, that was a fucking good meal. So then like 2 days later, we're like, where do we want to eat? I had something else lined up. We're like, we're not really feeling that. We call them. And we're like, hey, like, is there a chance we can get in? It's just two of us, like maybe like 8:30 or so. Hey, sorry, we're fully booked. All right, no problem. Like, this is Dave and Chris from the other night. We just wanted to say, like, thank you so much. Like, it was one of the highlights of our trip. We really appreciate y'all. We're super nice. Oh, it's Dave and Chris? Yeah, we got room for you. We get in, and we're like, they've got everything printed, right? Because everything's already lined up ahead of time. And we get in there, at the bottom was with Dave and Chris, VIP. And we ended up, again, it was another 3-4 hours hanging out with them. Man, it was cool. And I think last time I went back to Australia, I think they closed down. I went back a couple years ago, and I'm pretty sure they closed. It was such a bummer, man.
Yeah. But
it was so like kind of out of, it wasn't like in Sydney, right? So it's probably about a 30-minute taxi ride out, kind of in a neighborhood, right? So kind of unassuming. Yeah. Probably a little bit tougher to get about, kind of get the traction, the publicity around it because of its locale. But man, that's the one that blows my mind.
You just reminded me when you were talking about the how they had the 12-course menu. I used to be in a little town called Greenhaven. You ever heard of it? It's in northern Sacramento.
Okay.
Not a lot of people know
Yeah,
that.
no, I
It's
do
really
not.
small community. It's
Okay.
probably like 40 minutes outside of downtown Sacramento. But every year, at the time I was managing a gym, and these people loved celebrating Chinese New Year. So what they would do is we'd rent out an entire Chinese restaurant, and I was trying to tell the corporate office for this gym that was a chain, like, you guys just shouldn't, we should just close the gym on this day, because that's how many people went to
Really?
the dinner. Is
How cool.
like, no one was in there. It didn't make
Yeah.
sense for it to be open, but we would go. And there's probably 200 to 300 of us that would attend. And the food was, I'm not going to sit here and say the food was like the best Chinese food I ever had, but again, it was more the
That's gotta be a
experience
party,
of like
though.
everyone's throwing
Yeah,
back wine.
yeah.
Each table gets like a whole duck that comes with those warm muffins.
Like
where
the
you-
Peking ducks.
Yes.
Dude, it's so good.
and it was so much fun, dude. You had an
Yeah.
entire city at this restaurant that was just chilling for
That's
an
a party.
afternoon.
That's a party.
Yeah.
That's not even I'm going out to dinner. I'm going to this party. It just so
Yeah.
happens to be at a restaurant.
Yeah. It was so
That's
much
cool,
fun.
man. Oh man, I'd like to go to that. That sounds great.
That was one of those things, like, I would almost travel back to town just to attend
Yeah,
that because
yeah,
it
yeah.
was so much freaking fun.
Dude, you should. You should.
I might, if it's
Yeah.
still going. I haven't gone since like 2017.
I mean, if
but-
it's something like that big, unless COVID, kind of put a damper on that, I can't imagine that out of nowhere the town's going to stop that.
no, I, you know what? I could even see them during COVID being like, fuck it, we gotta do this.
Yeah, that's fair. California was strict during COVID, man. So I know we were talking prior to this, right? We both lived in California. You
Yep.
were in Sacramento, I was in San Diego. I moved out here 4 months before COVID. And I was so grateful because, I was living at the beach in San Diego, 70s style, 1-bedroom apartment, no AC. You don't have
No
that.
AC in San Diego.
You don't have
Well,
that
I
in
guess you
San
don't really need
Diego.
it, do you?
Yeah, no. It's only hot, like, towards the back end of my time. I was there for 8 years. The last 2 or 3 years was probably when, like, that's when it started to flip, and it's like global warming. You get like 2 or 3 weeks out of the year where then it's about 100 degrees, but you're also on a beach. You get the breeze off the ocean. It's not terrible. Anyway, I moved out here. I got a 2-bedroom place and like high ceilings, brand new. And it's Texas, so it was like COVID was like 1 month here.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, it's still a thing. Like I don't know if 1 month's a little early to pull the trigger on that, but all right. So we were back in the gym in a month. The bars and the restaurants opened up, and it opened up at 25% capacity.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is actually my ideal capacity.
Yeah.
Like, I can hear who I'm with. Like, I don't have people bumping into me. It's not loud music. I'm like, this is my ideal setting
Yep.
right now. Like, I loved, truthfully, man, it's weird because COVID, I hate to say it, I kind of enjoyed that time. I didn't turn the TV on for the first 2 months. I didn't watch a single minute of television for the first 2 months of COVID.
That was probably like the opposite of what
What everyone else did,
I will
yeah.
truthfully admit, and I hate that I'm about to admit this, I watched a lot of TV.
Yeah.
Because I got laid off pretty early on in April, and I remember those first 2 or 3 weeks, I had no idea what to do.
No one did.
So
Yeah, yeah.
I was watching Tiger King like every.
Oh my
I
God.
never
I've
would have
still
watched
never seen it.
Tiger.
I've still never seen it.
Good for you. It's not even that good of a show. If it wasn't for having a global pandemic, I would have never watched it. But I was trying to see friends. I was like, guys, come over. Let's have a barbecue. And people were like, it's illegal. I'm like, it's literally not.
Yeah, yeah.
You can come over for a barbecue. Like, get over here.
Yeah. I don't know. Most people did that, and I kind of went the opposite route. I was like, I can't do anything. I'm gonna take advantage of this. I started playing guitar, taught myself JavaScript. I was playing piano. Like, I read a ton. I was doing the CrossFit style, or Renaissance periodization, RP. All right, so they do, it's more hypertrophy style training, right? Through RP is the name of the company. And they've phenomenal workout programs, right? Now they have an app and all of that, but part of it that they had was like an at-home workout program that they released during COVID.
Okay.
And it's
Smart.
more, and it's more of a lot of intensifiers with it. A lot of it's body weight. I had some other weights, so I was able to include that in there. I probably worked out 2 or 3 times a week, or not a week, a day, and then was doing yoga and in there, and man, it was cool. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was funny. It was actually during COVID is when I stopped doing CrossFit and then got back into bodybuilding. And it was during CrossFit, the actual company of CrossFit during COVID had a nationwide CrossFit competition. It was an at-home competition. So you like filmed it, you know. After the first workout, I finished first in Texas, and then I quit. I stopped, and it was like a 3 or 4 week competition. And I did the first week of it. I placed first out of like 40,000 people in Texas. And I was like, well, that was pretty damn cool. And I was like, I don't think I'm gonna get higher than this.
Yeah.
Truthfully, it was like all the double unders and stuff just kind of blew out my shins and all that. And I was like, I'm not really enjoying this as much anymore as what I was. Like, I got to make some pains and things. Doesn't feel great. And my coach at the time was like, "You're ranked first in Texas right now. What do you mean you're stopping?" I was like, "I'm just not really having fun, man. I'm just gonna stop this." And I just didn't finish the rest of the competition. I was like, "That's kind of it, man. I'm done. I'm good."
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Dude, I feel bad because I try my best to be a man of my word.
Okay.
And I had the owners of CrossFit Lake Travis on the podcast for New Year's of 2023.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Going into 2024. And they invited me out to their box, and I told them I would go, and I have not gone. And that was a year ago. And the main reason is because it's sort of twofold. One, I just don't want to. It's a 45-minute drive from right here.
All right.
So that's part of it is like, man, am I going to like drive longer than the actual workout's going to be? That's ridiculous.
And the answer to that question is yes, because it's going to be like an 8-minute workout.
And the other thing is, like we were talking about on the phone, I have so many friends at the gym that it's half the reason I go is just to see the homies. Even if it's a 60-second conversation, just like, hey, how you doing? You need a spot? I'll spot you, and then I move on. I like seeing everyone, and every now and then I'll go to a different Golds where I don't know anyone because I'm like, I just need to get in, get out. I don't have time to be talking for an hour. But dude, I just like seeing my people. I'm like, I'm not going to know anybody there. I've never done CrossFit, so it's probably going to be like a very hard workout.
Like,
it could be good
for
me.
I'm going to feel out of place. I'm going to be laying on the ground, tired, dry heaving.
Yeah. So I might still surprise them. Maybe in 2025, I will, deliver on that promise that I made them that I will visit their gym.
It's wildly addicting. It is wildly addicting.
Really?
Oh man, are you competitive?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay, you're gonna get hooked. I'm telling you that right now.
Oh no.
And so I did CrossFit for a while. Now I'm in a bodybuilding. I'm hoping to do a show at the end of the year. We'll see what the surgery that I just had earlier this month on my knee, but it's what happened to me, right? I went my first CrossFit gym box that I went into. I did one of the drop-in free class, try it out. I'm like, oh, let's see what it was. Right when CrossFit was starting to take off, and then you see the dudes and the females that are, on TV, and you're like, damn, like they're fucking athletic and they are huge, like they are ripped, like that's a good look, like let me try this, see what happens. First workout, I'm able to do the muscle up right away, I'm like, oh, that's cool, I'm strong at that point because I'm still bodybuilding, and then comes the mile run.
Oh.
At the end of the workout, and I show up in Jordans because I'm like, I don't have any other shoes but Jordans, the heaviest fucking shoes that you could potentially work out and run in, right? They're not for that. I went from like being at a good place across every other member in there to dead last and getting lapped in the run.
Oh no.
Everyone else finished, and I'm like, I still got one more lap, and it's like a 400 meter. The gym runs out with me. In my head, I was like, oh, that's really cool. But also in my head, I'm like, fuck. I'm like, damn. Like, now I feel bad about myself. Yeah. And I get back in, and I'm like, well, how'd you like it? And it's like, tell you what, I'm never going to be last again in a workout. That's for damn sure. And then I just got hooked. And then I started competing, and we did competitions in Seattle. We did competitions in D.C., competitions obviously in San Diego where we were living, which is a very big CrossFit community, and then in Miami, and when I moved here, my buddy and I competed together in Shreveport, Louisiana, right at COVID. So like literally we were on our way to there, and we had friends that were going to come, and they had like a stadium style set up in there so fans could watch and stuff, and we got the text from the organizers of, hey, so with COVID, we're not doing, no fans are allowed. And we've got, my buddy's girlfriend's in the car and she's not competing. So she was going to be there as a fan.
Yep.
We had other friends that were going and it's like, so Turner's like, well, what are we going to do? We're like, we'll just pretend that you're an athlete and just wear athletic clothing. And like, we'll just have you hang out with us, Yeah, man, it's super addicting and it's community. And that's why it's so cool. Cause like, you get people that end up hanging out. There are some gyms that are extremely competitive and some gyms that are extremely social.
Yeah.
And when I moved to Austin, it was great. And that's right when I found a gym. It was right down the street, a box, and met a lot of friends and kind of got, it was just a great way for me to meet people when I moved to Austin. And then I stopped, but I still keep in touch with them sometimes. It's nice.
Speaking of competition, me and some friends we had a game night on Thursday.
Okay.
And two of my buddies will remain unnamed, because I'm about to put them on blast.
Man, this is going to be a good story. I'm looking forward to it.
I have never seen them so heated in my life. We got together just thinking like, this is going to be super fun.
Yeah.
We're all about to go back home for Christmas. So this will probably be our last time seeing each other in 2024. And they got into a heated argument that ended in one of them almost kicking the other one out. He was like,
shit.
"You need to get the fuck out of my house if you don't." And I was just like sitting there silently, sheepishly, just like,
"Oh fuck,
can we get back to
awesome.
the game night?
Like this is crazy. It was kind of fun, but
dude,
yeah.
it was fun to watch at first.
Yeah, 'cause like I'm not involved.
But then like, I didn't check my clock, but they probably argued for like 15 to 20 minutes.
Wow.
And I remember at one point just thinking like, this is ridiculous. Like we
Yeah.
are acting like children right now.
Board game.
And I've never seen the side of them, and I thought it was sort of comical that it took a board game for them to.
My question is, what board game got that going? Because I kind of want that game.
You should get it. You ever heard of Blockbuster?
No.
It's so it even comes in like a VHS shaped box, and it has
cool.
Blockbuster's
Great design.
logo on it.
That designer deserves.
And it's trivia. It's movie trivia.
Oh, okay, got it.
And so one of
how
their
the fuck do you get that competitive over movie trivia?
So one of the rules is that if you and me are, it's like you go head to head against one other person, and if the theme is, what was the theme? It was I think it was like movies where you go on an adventure.
Okay.
And if you say one movie, for example, Lord of the Rings, neither of you can then say like Lord of the Rings 2 because it's in the same genre.
Yeah.
So one of them said Lord of the Rings. And then a couple answers later, one of them said The Hobbit.
I knew that was okay.
And the argument they got into was, is The Hobbit part of Lord of the Rings?
So okay, go ahead.
And that was basically the premise of the argument. And most of us were just like, no, you can't use that answer because it's all like,
That's
yes, it's a
I'm
prequel, but like, it's the same fucking movie.
Totally. It's all together.
And the other one was like, so if you're telling me I say Iron Man, I can't say Wonder Woman? Dude, they argued deep. They went on such a deep rabbit hole. I was like, you guys are such nerds. Yeah. Like, can we just move on to the next round?
Iron Man, Wonder Woman, totally allowed. Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, that doesn't. No, I'm a no on that one too.
One of them, I'm gonna clip this.
He's getting kicked. Yeah, he's getting kicked out of the house.
And that's the one who almost got kicked out. Was the one who vehemently was standing. He was ready to die on that hill.
That it was good. That it was allowed or no?
That it was allowed. That the other guy should be able to say Hobbit.
I understand now why this fight ensued. This makes sense. I get it. I'm getting fired up over it.
Well, we're on the same page, so fortunately, there's no argument to be had
here. Good. Otherwise, this is gonna be a short podcast.
It's like end it here.
Yeah.
It was just wild, man. I couldn't believe it, but
That's
games bring out games and sports bring out something like parents at sporting games.
Yeah.
I went to see one of my nephews play soccer a few years ago. And the arguments that some of the parents got into, I was like, this is wild. These are 4-year-olds. Like, what are we arguing
They don't
about?
even know the concept of soccer yet. Right. They just see a ball and want to kick it. They don't understand soccer, though. And like, what is going on here? Calm down. They're not turning pro tomorrow.
No.
Yeah, it's actually, to that point, though, sports is, and this is why I love sports, right? It's one of the few things that has such a drastic emotional swing where if baseball, right? You're bottom of the ninth, You might be down, right? Everyone's on the edge of their seat. You're upset. It's your team, but whatever, Home run, game-winning home run. Then they pan to the dugout, and you see these grown men, hopping the fence. The
Yeah.
fans are going crazy. Like the flip of the switch from this sucks and I'm upset to complete joy and elation, like just out of this world emotional high is so cool, and that's what brings people back.
Yeah. That's why I walked out of the HEB Center with the jersey on my back after the first hockey game.
I don't blame you. I would have done the same thing.
It was so cool.
Yep.
Especially that game, because in Sacramento we have like the River Cats, which no one's heard of. Baseball team.
Okay.
You've heard of the River Cats?
Yeah. So
I'm shocked.
My parents actually, they're retired, so now they do this as like a fun thing. So they live in northern Alabama. I apologize to cut you off. So I'm gonna circle back. So my ADHD coming out right here. This is where I get excited. So my parents work concessions at a minor league baseball team. It's AA with the Trash Pandas. So like naturally, I know, right? So, and it's in Alabama, and you're like, oh, the Trash Pandas is Alabama. Okay, yeah, I get it. It kind of makes sense. And then so as they announced the team name, they sold out of merchandise online before their first, as the team was announced in seconds.
Way.
Yeah. It's fun. So to your point, back to your side of the story, it's like I've minor league baseball, like a lot of the teams, they also get such interesting names. You end up catching them, and then you're like, oh, I actually know them. Yeah.
Like your team in South Carolina, what were they called? I saw on your Instagram. I just remember it.
Yeah, so South Carolina, yeah. Dude, so we were the Gamecocks.
Yeah.
Imagine now, right? I'm 18 years old. I'm going back home to New Jersey, and I'm walking into a shop, and I've got just a shirt that just says Cox on it. and you walk in, and everyone's like, this is wildly appropriate. What the fuck are you doing? You're catching looks, and I'm like, it's the mascot of my school. Like, don't be mad, But meanwhile, my 18-year-old brain is like, this is hysterical, Yeah, man, it's fun. It was a good time.
Here's another throwback for you. Who are...
Oh, boy.
Club 150. Who are these guys?
Oh my god, this is my college roommates. Yeah, so that was my buddy Dan and Jake. Both of them actually from New Jersey. Funny story. In South Carolina, I got there, and the guy Dan, we went to summer camp together when we were like 8, 10, maybe, like in that age range. Hadn't really talked ever since. Occasionally we'd play baseball against each other growing up, and then we're like, oh shit, like you go to the school, and like we ran into each other, and it's like, oh, there's like 38,000 people, 40,000 people at this school, and we ran into each other, and we live like 20 minutes apart from each other back home in Jersey, and we went to summer camp together when we were 10. Like, that's crazy. So we ended up after freshman year, we ended up moving into that house, and yeah, it was a wild house, man. And I hate to say it because my parents actually own the house, so it was like one of those things where they're gonna hear this and be like, "You guys fucking trashed it," It's our investment, So it was funny in South Carolina, right? You get your basically most frats. If you live north of Virginia, they didn't want anything to do with you.
Oh.
Yeah. So most people from the Northeast kind of stuck together. And you can kind of tell it's from the Northeast because we didn't come in there wearing khakis and polo and boat shoes,
Right.
So you're like, oh, you've got to be from the Northeast. So we would have these parties, and it's like 150 people packed into the house, like people dancing on the tables, kegs, people going crazy. And we just dubbed it Club 150. I don't even know if it was us that said it or like someone else, but yeah, it was fun because it was kind of like everyone who's Northeast, so naturally already a little bit wild, I would say. Obviously I'm biased towards that, and so funny story to kind of dovetail into something else related to that. I had one of my buddies was down from Jersey. We had a party at the place, and then we went out. We had a party one night. The next night we went out downtown. He ends up in the drunk tank from downtown.
Oh.
If you knew him, you wouldn't be surprised. His cellmate ends up getting a ride through his roommate, ends up dropping my buddy off. He's like, wait, you're here? He's like, yeah. He's like, I've partied here before. And he's like, this place is awesome. My buddy walks in, like, zero context, because like he doesn't go to school there. He doesn't live with us. Like, he's just so happens to be visiting for the weekend. And he's like, so this is like that house, huh? He's like, yeah, my cellmate, his roommate just dropped me off. And it was like, wait a minute, this house? And it just turned into this thing, man. It was funny. Yeah, it was a good time. That was some good times.
That's probably one of my regrets is that going to Sac State, that was very much a go in, go to class, get out. If there was a fraternity, I didn't know about it. No one lived on campus. There were no dorms. Yeah. Dude, hearing stories like that, like, I wish I had that. I wish I could have rushed a fraternity and maybe made some very irresponsible decisions. Yeah. And I just, I never really made any friends in college. And it wasn't like because of anything I did or didn't do.
It's the community. It's
no one really did anything except go to class.
Tough. That's tough. That's a bummer,
Don't go to Sac State.
Yeah.
Sorry, CSUS.
Shout out Sac State. Yeah.
Go to UT.
Yeah, it was, and I credit my sister to a lot of it, actually. So when I was looking at some smaller schools. I was just like, we grew up in a small town. My high school pulled from 4 towns, 600 kids total in a high school from 4 different towns, 4 grades. So like I was like, I kind of want something different. And she's like, you should go to a big college because when you get out of there, there's going to be the alumni network. Yeah. You will, wherever it is that you live in the country, Saturday game day, there's going to be like a meetup with people that went there at the bar in whatever city you're in, right? And you'll just be able to make those connections super easy. And it was spot on exactly what happened. So like that was advice that she had given me. It was cool. And then funny, in South Carolina, I grew up, I'm a beach kid, like Austin is the most landlocked that I've ever been in my life. Yeah. But fortunately, like 5 minutes down the road from me where I live in Southeast Austin, there's a wakeboard park. So, during the summer from April to September, I bring the board, I throw the board in the back of the truck and go wakeboard at this park 5 minutes from my house a couple times a week. Quest ATX.
I'm checking that out next
Dude, it is cool. Super man-made. You can't see it from the main road. You cannot, you have no idea that it's there because it's set back and it's like you kind of go over this dirt road that goes over this little hill and then it dumps down and then it opens up into this big man-made pond. Yeah. And half of it is a wakeboard park, ramps and rails and all that. And it's just a cable park. So it just pulls you and it pulls like 6 or 7 people at a time. You get on, beach chair set up, picnic tables, you bring music, you can bring a grill, you hang out, you just kind of kick it all day. You can bring drinks and coolers and shit. So it's like it's a great hangout spot. And you're just in the middle of this big open land with this pond, And then on the other half of it is a water park. Great. They got this long, just launch you off. Have you ever seen the movie Heavyweights with Ben Stiller back in the day? So it's about fat camp. So his kids go to fat camp and Ben Stiller's, the head camp counselor and his absolute nut job. It's a hysterical movie. But in that movie, they have a blob. And it's where you jump. It's this big inflatable thing. You're sitting on one side. They jump off, land on a blob, launch you. Yes. They have one there. It's so cool. It is so fun. So I had some buddies that were in town for everyone came into Austin for a bachelor party for my friends, and we went there Friday afternoon, and we were, it was a bachelor party. We're having fun. Yeah. It's summertime. We're kicking it. We're enjoying it. They were also doing summer camp there at the same time. So now there's little kids running around, and we're all in our mid-30s, and we're having fun. No one was driving, so it worked out. And we get to the blob, it's we're two 35-year-old dudes, about 200 pounds, 240 each, kind of roll, there was some wheat that was jumping. These little kids, double blob. We're trying to have us both jump off together to launch these children, these 10-year-olds, just as high as we can. Super dangerous. So fun. So fun.
You probably made their day, though.
Oh, my God. They were so happy. And we were, too, though, because we were that was awesome. Yeah, so back to kind of landlocked. Austin, South Carolina, got it. All right, now I'm back to where I was. So I was the kid, right? I grew up at the beach. I grew up on water. So I was always board shorts, flip-flops, every day, you know?
Yep.
I got to South Carolina. There's no beach. The closest beach is 2.5 hours. Spent a lot of time at the pool, but I'd get to campus, you know, you get into campus, it's, you know, I'm board shorts and flip-flops, it's who I was,
Yep.
you know, who I am. And start raining, you know, torrential downpour, it's a southeast storm, you know, like when it storms in the southeast, it storms. It's kind of like here when when you get a good rainstorm,
Yep.
you know, to knock out some power and
Yep.
so, you know, it's like that was a good one. You know, so I'm walking between classes. I'm the guy, since I'm already in board shorts, I'm like, well, I'm made to get wet. You know, I'd take my shirt off, put my flip-flops and my shirt in my backpack, just walk across campus with my board shorts
Yep.
on, step into the business building, shirt on, flip-flops on, walk right into class. And everyone was like, were you just changing in the middle of like the lobby of the business building? And it's like,
Yep.
dude, it's wet outside, man. I don't want my clothes wet.
Dude, it's so funny. You and me share this in the sense that I would also show up to class in board shorts and sandals, and it'd be raining outside, and people would be like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "It's." What do you mean? What am I doing?
Wet.
Yeah, it's wet.
What are
and it's
you
also
doing
only
fully?
it's only like 65 outside,
Yeah.
and everyone else would be in their like thick winter coats.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not even cold out. Like,
Yeah.
it's wet, but it's not cold.
Yeah, yeah. And how does it feel sitting in that chair, soaking wet for the next 3 hours?
Yeah.
Yeah? You enjoying that? No. No one is.
And people in Sacramento were hilarious because if it hit the news that a storm was coming in, everyone, like, people would start putting sandbags out in front of their businesses. I'm
Okay.
like, guys, it's not going to flood.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
what,
yeah.
what are we doing here?
Yeah. Dude, we grew up. So my street stuck out into the river, and right in front of our driveway was the low point on the street. So every September, basically, flood. We used to have to canoe out of the house to get to
No
the end of
way.
the street, tie the canoe up to the stop sign, or put it on like a neighbor's yard up there, and then walk to school. That's how we'd have to get out to get to school.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
This is in the 6,000 person town that you
Yeah,
grew
yeah,
up in?
yeah.
What was the town called again?
Oceanport.
Oceanport.
Yeah. And we'd go like right behind my house was a park and a boat dock launch. So we'd, you know, as kids, we'd always go crabbing and hang out there and stuff. And place, you know, there was the hockey rink, roller rink, basketball court, soccer, baseball, like all that shit. And then, we'd spend the day like crabbing and playing sports, and then rather get on a little mongoose bike with pegs, you know, and head home.
When I first moved to Austin, you remember in February of 2023?
The storm?
Yeah. So in Sacramento, there's no crazy weather. Like, we get rain, we get all 4 seasons, but there's no flooding, there's no fires, earthquakes, tornadoes, anything like that. So I had this great idea to move out to Austin, Texas, and I didn't bring anything with me, like furniture or anything. And we had been here, me and the dog had been here for like 2 or 3 weeks. And I wake up one morning on my air mattress in the middle of the family room. I'm like, all right, let's take the dog for a walk. Walk outside. This entire neighborhood was just frozen over. And I go to take a step down the stairs, and it was iced over, and I didn't notice. So my foot slips up, and I fall down the staircase. And how I didn't break anything is beyond me. I was just like, whoa.
That's
I'm
dangerous.
Okay. It's very dangerous.
Yeah.
So then I took the dog for a walk, climb up the stairs. I was like holding on to both railings, taking one step at a time. But I remember that night, I lit up the fireplace, and I was sitting on the air mattress with my back up against the wall, bottle of whiskey in my hand, just like, it wasn't even a low moment, but I remember just thinking, like, the podcast hadn't started yet. I knew nobody in Austin. I had no friends here yet because I moved here not knowing a single soul. And I remember just staring into the fire, pretty buzzed, dog in my lap, just thinking, what have I done?
Yeah. I feel like everyone has that moment. That what am I doing with this move right now? What am I doing with my life? In like the most random scenarios. But now I hear that, I'm like, oh, just get to hang out, like no power, like it's ice outside. I get a fireplace and a bottle of whiskey. That kind of sounds really nice now.
I wouldn't mind if it happened today.
Yeah,
I could care.
Like I've got other things.
I could have friends over. We could, you know, I got actual furniture. I think part of it was just the move was so fresh.
Yeah.
That you're just thinking like, was this a mistake?
Yeah, you've got nothing to ground you. You've got nothing to ground you. You know. Yeah, I had my what the fuck moment. Driving from when I moved to Austin, I had never been here before. Literally had never been to Austin before. I was ready to get out of San Diego, and everyone's like, you know, I was like, I was between Seattle, Austin, or Denver. I applied to roles in all 3 cities. got a call back here really quickly. I know a bunch of people at that software company. They were based in the Bay Area. Anyway, like it was, it was easy. It was a nice transition. I was just ready to get out. So I'm like, all right, Austin's cool. Everyone's like, oh, Austin's great. You're going to love it. Sports, music, like great scene. I was like, all right, cool. Let's do it. I got my apartment online, drove out here, hit West Texas. Have you ever been to West Texas?
Driven through it, but
yeah,
so
that's about all you can do in West Texas. It was like 4 or 5 hour stretch of a road. There was like no building, no car. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? Like, what? I've never even been to. I don't know what it's like. Everyone tells me it's cool, but look at what's in front of us. There's nothing. I was like, if this car breaks down, like I might die here. I might have one of these birds come by and pick me up. Yeah, and then I got to Austin. I was like, yeah, all right, this works. This is dope. I'm a big fan of this. Yeah, but I feel like everyone has that "what the hell am I doing" moment. But then it works out, and then you started the podcast. You've got, the friends. You've got the gym. Like, once you get settled and you start putting yourself out there and trying to make your own community, like we were talking about, right? Community is important. Yep. Then you kind of, that becomes home. And home isn't like, home doesn't need to be like the traditional sense of home. It's where your people are. Yeah. It's where you feel comfortable.
I really, one of my goals is to get my mom to move out here.
Nice.
Because I really don't want to go back to Sacramento. Yeah. She's 64 right now.
Okay.
And she's in great health. She still works full time. She's going a million miles an hour. But just like everyone thinks about their parents, I'm sure she'll hit 70, 80, 90, whatever the age is. And at some point she might need someone around to help her out. And the family has spread out all over the U.S. now. Yeah. We're in Oregon, New York, here in Texas. And dude, I've only been here 2 years and I love it so much. I just don't want to go back to Sacramento. Yeah. I lived there 35 years and I got what I could get out of it, and there's nothing for me there except mom.
That's spot on though, right? It's like you did everything you wanted to do. You feel good about it. You don't feel the need to live there again.
Yeah. Right.
You want new experience, and it's. I think that's part of it, right? Like clearly, you can look back on Sacramento fondly and be like, that was awesome, except for the fact that I didn't really make a lot of friends at college because I wasn't Sac State. Shout out Sac State.
We are roasting them today.
But like you could go back and look at it and be like, yeah, like Sacramento was cool, and that's how I feel about San Diego. Is I got my friends there, my sister's there. The company I work for is still based there, so I go there every couple of months anyway. But my friend's like, oh, you want to move back? And I'm like, I don't.
Yeah.
I really don't. I enjoy coming back occasionally to like see friends and family and stuff, but like I don't want to live there anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny how that happens. You just kind of hit that point in life. You're like, I need something new. This was great. I did San Diego throughout my entire 20s. I wouldn't change that for anything. That was the coolest fucking thing, man.
Yeah.
Like I was working East Coast hours in software sales, so I was out at 3:00, living in Pacific Beach, which is basically like down. It's so people, right.
Off at 3 in San Diego.
Off at 3. I'm at the beach. I used to do, oh man. So we were either there at happy hour, we were there, or at the beach, or I picked up a stand-up paddleboard, and I would just go out by myself. So where I was living, it was like 3 blocks off the beach at that point. 3 blocks in the other direction was what the hell is it called?
The Gaslight?
No. It was a bay. Oh my God, why did I just draw that blank? So it's a bay, right? And the bay is way calmer, right? But then it outlets into the ocean. So I would just take up my stand-up paddleboard, have like one of those drawstring backpacks, fill it with beer, paddle out, like get out there, sit down on a paddleboard and just drink and wait till I floated back in and pick up my board and walk home again, I was like, this is the life, dude. Yeah, it was fun, man. I wouldn't trade that for anything, man. That was really cool. I'm also really excited for this portion of, like now in my 30s here, partner, got the house, got the dog, I'm established. It's a totally different lifestyle than that, but man, I am happy as hell.
One of the times I used to visit San Diego 2, 3, 4 times a year just because it's so easy to get to. So PB. Flight.
You know what PB is like. Yeah. It's a good time.
So you ever go to that nude beach there?
Yeah. Man, why'd you ask me that right in the middle of this podcast?
Well, I'll tell
friends and family are going to see this and be like, what the hell are you doing?
I'll tell my story.
I've been once.
Me and one of my friends, her name's Drew, we were, she had found out about it. She had been living there, and she's like, we have a nude beach. Do you want to go? Beach. And I was like, yeah, let's go. And so we get out there, and we're excited, right? And nervous, very nervous.
Yeah.
But also just like we had this idea in our head that there is going to be like hundreds of people our age, hot people, attractive people.
Never the case.
And so we get to the, we park, and there's the staircase that winds. The staircase is so long
in and of itself, dude. It is. My calves hurt so. My calves and my quads hurt so bad getting back up that
thick staircase.
Yeah.
And then we get down there, and we were still clothed. We were not about to undress until we saw everyone else undressed.
Yeah.
And as you probably know, we get out there, and everyone is like 70 plus. Yeah. And I think we were scarred for life.
Yeah.
We saw all these naked senior citizens, and we were just like, ugh, this is not. We left that beach so quick. We walked up and down it. We were out there maybe 20 minutes, if that. And she was just like, "You want to go to any other beach but this one?" I was like,
yes, I do. Yeah. And you're like, oh shit! It took us 20 minutes to walk down here. It took us another 20 minutes to get to this area of the beach. And now
we're about to burn 1,000 calories, slightly buzzed.
We stayed for 15 minutes, and now we've got to do another 40 minutes to get back to the car. It's funny when you get out there, man. It's like everyone thinks it's gonna be. I don't know what everyone thinks. I know what I thought. It's clearly what you thought too.
Yeah,
right? It was like, oh, it's gonna be people our age. Yeah, not the case.
No.
It's the equivalent of like the old man in the locker room at the gym that just kind of like is hanging out with his shit everywhere. And you're like, all right, dude, put it away. That's what it is.
Dude, the gym I worked at in Greenhaven, the one I was telling you about with the Chinese New Year, they made a terrible mistake when they built this gym, and they thought it would be a good idea to put a hot tub in each of the locker rooms. And I remember my first day there.
Oh no!
I walk in. Take many of them. And there's probably 6, 7, 8 guys, all over 60 years old.
Nope, not
naked,
getting in the hot tub.
And you'd think like as a gay dude, this would be like the dream. Like, all these, but again, there's no one. It wasn't like buff hot dudes. Like it was all the old guys. And here's the vibe of this gym. The rush hour is from 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. It's mostly senior citizens. It was in a very, like a senior, this is where you go to retire. And so people show up. It was one of the only gyms of this chain that served coffee all day. And towel service, 10 different racquetball courts.
Oh, so you went to a spa, basically.
It was more of a spa
it was
than
a
gym.
resort. Yeah.
But it was close to Sac State, and there's a lot of students that would work out there because they knew no one used the free weight floor. Yeah. So the free weight floor was always empty, except for a few college people. But people would show up at 6 a.m., they'd drink a ton of coffee, and they'd play racquetball for 3 or 4 hours, and then they would go to the locker rooms and they would just hang out and talk politics mostly. And so you had all these old naked people talking about, the 2016 election was wild because these senior citizens would be in the lobby, over caffeinated as we are. And
as I just took a sip.
You took a sip. We love caffeine around here.
Love it.
But they would get in like heated arguments, and I'd have to here I am as a manager of a health club, telling these seniors, retired seniors, you guys need to calm down. But just to piss each other off, if they saw someone on the Democratic side leaving, they would be like, "Hey Cheryl, drain the swamp, the swamp," and she'd just turn around and she'd be like, "Shut the fuck out!" It was just the front desk staff would just be like, "What do we do?" And I was just like, honestly,
what can you do?
Just leave them alone.
Yeah,
just
put a big sign that says no politics.
Right.
It's you can't police that. You know. That's probably the last thing I'd want to talk about at the gym or sitting in a hot tub. Granted, I would not probably be in that hot tub. But yeah, man, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't like that. I don't want to go to the gym and talk politics. But again, if I was 70,
that might change in 40 years.
Totally, 100%. I'd probably be in the hot tub in 40 years.
Dude, I wonder. Here's a crazy thing. Even though I told you we weren't going to talk about politics, I wonder what will be going on in 40 years. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. You could
no
probably ask ChatGPT. It'll probably tell us.
I don't want to ask. I'm scared of that answer. When we are retired, what will the political scene look like?
Yeah.
Or just Earth, things.
Earth is what is. Yeah. It's
since we've been born, think about it. Computers, we probably watched Star Wars as kids and was like, "Whoa, that's so wild." Touch screens.
So kids right? Growing up, oh, you got to learn how to do this math problem because you're not going to have a calculator in your pocket when you're older.
Right.
We have a full computer in our pocket now.
Yeah, with anything.
Yeah.
There's you could look up anything. You got porn on that thing.
Yeah.
You got like whatever you want to look up, you can just look it up now.
I built a vision board from my phone with ChatGPT just sitting around on the couch the other night. I've like never done one before, but you know, I've got the surgery, so I'm kind of limited to like what it is that I can even do. And I was kind of doom scrolling as to kind of bring it back to the very first topic we talked about. And I was like, oh, here's a prompt for ChatGPT to help you create your vision board. And I was like, all right, let's see what this looks like. You know, I got some things I want to accomplish in 2025. And dude, it was fucking cool. It was cool. Like I've used it for a bunch of things for like formulas and stuff with Excel and things like that. 'Cause I hate Excel, but like it's really helpful. I've even been at work and stuff and like been on calls with clients. Like, oh well, what's kind of like standard here? And I'm like, you know, I'm just like, oh yeah, you got to do this. You know, like this is common. Or, like legally, you're not supposed to do this. And it's like, oh, that's great. And I'm like, to have this just readily available, man, this is sick.
Yeah, dude, ChatGPT is it's so much fun.
Yeah,
is what it is.
You could get lost in it though. I was talking. Oh man, yeah. So I'll say it. So I was last night. I was at the hockey rink. Right, like I can't play at the moment, but I was. My team it was the last game of the season, so we're in there. So I showed up and I was like, yeah, I want to be around here. I was like, first, let's see if mentally I'm going to even be able to handle being here and watching other people play, not me. You know, I was talking with this lady, and you know, she was going through some shit with an ex of hers, and she's like, you know, I was like, hey, like, are you going to therapy? And it's something I talk about a lot. Like, therapy is fucking fantastic. I think everyone should go. You know, extremely healthy. And she's like, yeah. She's like, I've also been using ChatGPT as a therapist. Like, on top of that. And I'm like, oh, well, you know, I'm like, all right, wasn't expecting that. But, you know, at the end of the day, like, more importantly, like, if it gets you to talk and think about and process your feelings, I'm like, that's cool. You know, like, that's what's needed to heal, right? Yeah. I'm like, I'm probably not putting a ton of stock into ChatGPT being my therapist, but if it gets thought-provoking questions on it, you know, I'm like, that helps. Yeah, that was a different track. It was like, shit, ChatGPT is my therapist. That's not healthy. This. We might be taking a weird turn as a society if that becomes the norm, you know?
Yeah.
But it was cool that she found it as a tool to help her kind of process and heal, you know? It was cool. It'll be interesting in the future how AI is just integrated across the board in our daily lives. And it's also going to be interesting to see what life it takes upon like itself, right? The more data we feed it, the more it continues to build and grow and kind of interpret it. And, you know, it's depending on if it's an open source technology or not, if there's what type of guardrails are involved with that, it can be swayed. You know, and it's really, it'll be interesting in 40 years, like we talked about, like, you know, is AI kind of the end all be all for society? And is that what's kind of maybe, you know, is it like, this is what's leading our society and this is how our political decisions are being made, right? And it's like, because it's able to interpret so much data so quickly, and then it's like, what is, you know, and it's like, oh, should we start a global war, you know? And it's like, blah, 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 and, you know, and 5 minutes later it spits back out there. It's like, here's things to be mindful of, you know? And it, you know, truthfully, I could see it becoming more of a practice in economic factors and political factors and society in general in regards to making decisions like that, just because it's able to handle so much data and process it so quickly. Yeah, that's scary. Cool.
You know what's
fuck.
So while it's hilarious to hear that someone was using it as their therapist, I did go into it a couple days ago, and I just put in, what is the meaning of life? I just wanted to know what ChatGPT, how it would answer that question. And the answer it gave me was actually scarily on point.
Okay.
It said, you know, something to the effect of like, a lot of people think that life is about, you know, getting as much money as you can and wealth and fame and whatnot. But really what you should do is find your purpose in life and find a way to serve others. And at the end of the day, if you die surrounded by a multitude of friends, then you can know that you had a very good life. And I was like,
That's damn good. That's thank you, therapist ChatGPT. I appreciate that. Now I know what I'm doing in life. Yes, it's got the answers to all of my burning questions. It's funny, like that question that you asked it, right? And and here's the purpose of life. I always said, like, one saying that I have always said, and it kind of came to me a couple of years ago. Life is about creating stories. That's it. Life is about creating stories. It's doing things and creating memories. And, it's like, oh, this is the next chapter in my book. These are all just, like, different stories that kind of get put together to, create who you are in your life. And you're able to kind of reference back and share that with people and create that connection. And and that's why it's like, it's like, I'm always, like, I'm on a whim 9 times out of 10. It's like, yeah, cool, let's go do this instead. Like, fuck it, let's go,
Yeah.
And it's because, like, when you put yourself in a space, so many cool things happen, and then you're on a podcast and you're talking about it, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, and it's enjoyable to share that with people, and it makes them happy, and it's like, then they can relate and all this, and life is just about creating stories. Putting yourself in positions to create those stories, and then being able to hope that, in certain scenarios, share them when possible. And I think that the more stories you have, it's a life well lived.
Yeah. One of my friends at game night on Thursday,
Oh, boy.
he asked me when I first
Before
got...
or after the fight?
Before.
Okay.
Right.
When so it was healthy at that point.
Yeah. When we were all still friends. Yeah. He asked me when I walked in, he's, what's new with you? And I was like, dude, it's such a weird question because everything, like, I'm in Austin, Texas.
Yep.
I have a podcast. We're about to hit episode 100. I went on a blind date on Monday. It's not going to go anywhere. I don't think.
It was blind.
It was fine.
It's still going to stay that way.
But I was like, dude, like, everything's new. Like, I've only been here 2 years.
Yeah.
We've only gone to, like, 1% of the restaurants that we want to visit. Or even, like, I haven't been to Rogan's Comedy Club yet.
Okay.
And I know, like, for whatever reason, gay people, like, have this thing against Rogan.
Yeah.
I really don't care. I just want to go to the Comedy Mothership.
So I saw him at Comedy Mother. It was so... Sorry, I cut you off again. I keep doing this.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
All right. So we went, and it was for the bachelor party, right? So we go... Rogan's, he's performing.
Yeah.
And I go to the bathroom. Jim Gaffigan's pops up on stage. I get back. I'm like, what the fuck? How'd this happen? And it's like, oh, like his flight got delayed, so he just popped in for a set. And I was like, that's crazy. So, Rogan was up there, and he's talking about... he was like, this kills me because people are fucking referencing this shit all throughout COVID. And he's like, do you know how many people referenced my health, like, takes and stuff, like medical advice, and, like, took my medical things that I would be saying on my podcast as, like, medical advice and, like, all of this? He's like, who the fuck would take that and run with this? Like, I have any sort of degree. He's like, I mean, do what you want. He's like, but this is what I was doing. It's like, these people are nut jobs. And it was like, he told the line of, like, inappropriate and okay so well, and so many people like, oh, well, Rogan says this, and he's like, who the fuck would take my medical advice? And I'm like, thank you, like, oh my god, finally he says it. I was like, can we record this and put this out there? Like, it was so funny, man. It was fun. It's a good one. You should definitely get there and go see it. Because it's it's such a hot spot now. Like, Austin's such a hot spot for comedy.
Yes.
And, like, right, I went to the bathroom and Jim Gaffigan was on there. I'm like, he wasn't even supposed to be here. His flight got delayed, so he popped in. Like, that's the type of shit that happens there. And it's so cool.
Yeah.
It's so cool, man. Definitely go.
I want to. We love comedy. We've been going to on Wednesday nights. You've been to the Copperhead yet?
I have not.
It's this. It's a pool hall.
Okay.
They have an indoor area and outdoor area.
Like billiards? Pool?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Pool? Oh, do you play pool?
I'm bad, but yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I try my best.
Okay.
I show up and I have fun.
There you go. You know what? That's what matters, man.
But Wednesday nights, they got 2-for-1 burgers and free comedy.
Oh, okay. That sounds
so
good.
you're getting burgers, a beer, and fries for under $20.
Okay.
2 burgers. And then you get free comedy from 9 to 10:30. And 2 of my friends just moved here from New York, and we've gone like 6 times already, just because the comedy is free and the burgers are good.
It's called the Copperhead?
The Copperhead.
I'm going to have to check it out.
You know where Buzzmill is?
Yeah.
It's across the street.
You saw Buzzmill over on Riverside?
Yeah.
How the fuck do I not know this place? Is it new?
I don't know. It doesn't look new. It looks pretty old.
I used to live like a 5-minute walk from there. That when I first moved to Austin, that's where I got my apartment.
It's walking distance from. It's Buzzmill is like right here, and Copperhead's right across the street. It's big too.
I'm so confused. Wait, are you? No. Oh, got it. All right, I know. Oh my
Your
god,
face was melting.
All right, yeah, I just processed so much so quickly. All right, so Copperhead is the bar that's behind the Jackalope.
Yes.
Now I
Yeah.
get it. I do not. I always call it Jackalope. I've never called it Copperhead. And I was like, wait a minute. I was like, there's one thing there. It's
Jackalope.
Jackalope. And Copperhead is the back part of it. Got it. Okay. Oh my god, you just like blew
You were
my
like,
mind because I was like, I live there.
You're ready to fight. You're like, there's this doesn't exist.
I was like, this is part of the same thing. It's not it. Yeah, you can't use that one. Yeah, no, that's yeah, and their burgers are damn good. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not anything crazy special. They're $6, so you can't expect a lot.
Right, and it's buy one get one.
Technically $3 since
Yeah,
you get it too.
Yeah, it's
but yeah, I
a
mean,
deal.
it's meat, cheese,
it's a cool
lettuce,
spot.
tomato.
It's a cool spot too. They got the whole that whole back area with the turf and stuff. A lot of TVs and stuff.
You can bring your dog if you want.
Yeah. Oh, dude, man, I brought my dog there once. Chaos. My dog takes after me. Definitely has ADHD too. He'll be doing this, so yeah, sometimes I used to bring him there occasionally when it was like off hours. But if there's too many people, it would like stress me out. But man, Austin's so dog friendly too.
Yeah,
it's so cool. It is so cool. Yeah. So I don't. Do you know like the Stonewall sports leagues? So it's the LGBTQ sports leagues that they do here in Austin.
Okay.
It's a non-profit. They have them across the country, but they do kickball, pickleball. I've heard rumors that they might be doing bowling. I was a bowler. What else they got? They got some other stuff too. They might have dodgeball and a couple other things, but and probably cornhole. But that's the after bar. So it's like these leagues that, oddly enough, can get kind of competitive, like competitive kickball. And you're like, oh, we played this when we were like 10 in school, and it's like people are freaking out and shit.
Yeah.
It's funny. And you can tell who used to be really athletic because they get really frustrated with how they move now, and it's like, we're all in our 30s, 40s, so... Yeah, and then everyone goes there afterwards, and that's the host bar for like the social gatherings after for all of the Stonewall sports, and it's awesome, dude. It's such a great spot.
I'm pretty sure my barber is a part of that. And what's funny is,
what barber? You gotta give a shout out.
Faded by Phil.
There we go.
Yeah, he's at the 3636 Salon and Barber Shop. He's the guy that's responsible for this beard.
There you go. Looking good.
He's great. But he told me about it. He's like, and he's a straight man too. Yeah. But he was like, dude, this league is awesome.
Yeah.
He plays soccer, basketball, and there's one other sport.
There's softball, flag football.
It's probably softball. It's probably softball. And dude, I'm a little bit adverse to sports. I never liked them growing up. I was always terrible at them. I was the last kid to get picked if you ever did what's it called when you the two team captains take turns picking people?
That's just kind of all I know it as.
Whatever that's called.
Yeah. I didn't know there was like even a term for it.
Yeah, dude. I'm not a big sports guy, but I'll go watch hockey.
There we go, man. Yeah. Hockey's the shit. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't we talk about community, right? It was a big topic in our conversation prior to this. I have built what feels really good to me. Such a cool and enjoyable community of people and friends through these leagues. That like I had my surgery at the beginning of the month, and so many people had reached out, and I'm like, hit me up on Instagram and text me like, hey, is there anything you need? In fact, after this, we're doing board games at my house today.
Don't bring Blockbuster.
I don't know. I kind of want to see it. That sounds fun. I like that stuff. It's a couple of people from my kickball team. They're gonna come over. We're gonna order some pizzas and do board games, and it's just like things like that where, it's healthy. Everyone's kind of in there because they enjoy just running around like a kid, having fun, laughing. And while the games can get competitive, everyone's also there to have fun and support each other. People hang out afterwards. They'll have drinks. They'll watch the other games. They'll be playing music during it. So between pitches, you get people dancing and shit. And it's fun, man. It's really, really cool. And everyone's so nice. It's awesome. Yeah. And then, so we did that. And then, actually, it was funny enough. So it was, this past season was my second season. I did another season, obviously, the first season that I did prior to that. And they've got these big tournaments across the country. So we went out to West Hollywood in LA to do a kickball tournament out there with like 1,000 people from across the country. Teams from all over like the major cities across the US came out there for the weekend for a kickball tournament. And then like the night events were, you know, a lot of them were out at the bars and they were doing bar crawls that were hosted by the Dodgers, the Chargers, like all of most of the big pro sports teams in LA were like kind of backing some of these. So they had like gifts and raffles and things like that. It was so fucking cool, man. And like I had one of my friends, she came up from San Diego and she's like, oh, like it's kickball. I was like, yeah, it's, you know, it'd be cool. Like whatever, it's a kid's game. Get there. I see these teams. I'm like, yo, they're like crazy, you know, like this is not kickball. Like this is some grown kickball, you know, this is not gym school shit. You know, and it's like, you know, outfielder can't get to the ball. They can't catch it because of the position. So, like, they're hitting it up. The center fielder's sprinting by, catches it before fall. You know, you get it, and you're like, what the hell was that play? Like, oh, my God. I didn't know that could be a thing. And she came up, and, you know, she was watching the games, and it was at one of the parks in West Hollywood, and kind of, you know, like, all of the teams were up here. Everyone had, like, tents and stuff, and there was vendors that kind of had shit set up, and there was, like, 4 games going across the baseball fields and stuff. She's like, is everyone here like LGBTQ? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, this is the coolest fucking thing. Like, she's like, oh my God. Like, you know, she's trying to find it in San Diego now. And San Diego's got a bunch of leagues. So it's cool, man. I definitely, even if you're not really like into playing them, it's so low table stakes. It's meant to be social.
Yeah.
That's
I want to go.
Yeah, yeah. Good. I hope I sold you on it.
You sold me.
All right. You know what? My job here is done today. If
See
I
you
got
later.
one thing, we're good.
Dude, thinking of community and whatnot, you said something that made me think of this. But even one thing that happened just this week in Austin that never would have happened in Sacramento was a friend called me on Thursday. I couldn't take his call. I had a curveball thrown at my day. Wasn't very happy about it. And I texted him back. I was like, hey, I don't want to talk. I just got to the gym. I just need to like lift some heavy shit for an hour. Yeah. And maybe I'll call you afterwards.
That's therapy.
It is.
That's a therapy session right there.
Dude, and I hit a couple PRs that day, and I was like, man, anger
Hell yeah.
and rage really helped. And pre-workout. Really
yeah, you walked out of there like a new man. No, I know you did. You had a pep in your step.
I did 25 minutes in the sauna, so that felt
you
great.
got in the hot tub. Just kidding.
Oh, if there was one, I would have.
Referencing your gym back in Sacramento.
No hot tubs at Gold, for better or for worse.
Probably for better on that one, yeah.
But then, very unexpectedly, I woke up Friday morning, and I go to take this guy on a stroll, and we open the front door, and
But this guy also, you can't see it. There's a dog down here.
Dog.
He was not referring to me.
Right.
For those watching this right now.
It was
I just want to be
Thad,
very clear. Yeah.
Producer Thad
it was not me.
I was not taking Dave on a walk. But we open I leash him up, grab my coffee. We open the front door, and sitting on that doormat was 2 pieces of pie, a bottle of pre-workout, and there's another thing I'm forgetting right now, and I knew it was from Che, the guy that called me right before I got into the gym.
Man.
But dude, like,
good people.
I didn't have friends like that in Austin who were just like, I know David had a bad day. What can I do?
Yeah.
I'm going to go by his house at 6 a.m. and drop off some pre-workout and some pie.
Yeah. I'm not even going to talk to him because he's still processing probably whatever. And that's fine. He'll reach out. But I'm going to do this and hopefully brighten his day a little bit. That's all. Che's a good guy.
Che is a good guy, man. We love Che. Shout out Che.
There you go, Che.
And if you need supplement advice, he's the guy to go to. He has invested over 2,000 hours into reading, watching YouTube videos. Like this guy, if you want to know anything about steroids,
do you know his Instagram handle? You know his Instagram.
Yeah, I mean he's the only Che.
Okay.
Che Stockwell. You'll find him, just like it sounds.
Look him up.
Yeah. Let's see. What else is going on?
Ooh, what else is going on? All right, so I've referenced this a few times. I had surgery.
Yep. What happened?
Month.
I forget if I asked you.
Oh my God. So last year I was in the gym. I was doing some squats. It wasn't even heavy. Like I had worked up to
500 pounds.
It was like 465, 475, right? So then I was working back down. By this point, I'm at like 225. And it's like literally like the last set. I worked up and then worked down. I'm kind of hanging out. And I just kind of felt a tear like around my knee. And I was like, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't painful. Like, it almost was like I could hear it. You know, you can kind of feel it, but like you kind of hear it and you feel it at the same time. You're not really sure if you heard it or
was
you
it like
felt
a burning, a stinging? What did it feel like?
No. It was literally nothing. It was literally just like kind of taking a piece of paper and, and you just kind of like that. Yeah, but like, I was like, that was weird. I feel nothing, but that was strange. Like, there was literally nothing. So I kept, I re-racked it, stopped squatting at that point. And I was like, I don't need to do that. I don't know what this is, but like, that wasn't right. That shouldn't have obviously happened. And it just kept going. That was a year ago. So, then I started playing ice hockey, and I was on 2 ice hockey teams, and then I was in 2 pickleball leagues and a kickball league, and just all this other stuff. And then obviously being in the gym and bodybuilding, and obviously like kind of the days between like my recovery time just started to get more and more apart. And I started to them be like, like having to pick and choose, and I was like, this isn't great. I should go like get this checked out, And it was funny. It kind of hit me when I was in LA for that tournament. We had played 4 games in the first day or so, and we're out at night. We're doing this bar crawl, and I had to put on my gym knee sleeves and double sleeve on it to get it super tight. And I'm limping around the whole time. I had my feet up at the bar, and I was like, "Yo, you're right." My friend, she was up there, and I had a couple drinks, and she's like, "You definitely tore something. We should go right now and get it checked out." And I'm like, "Yo, it's midnight in LA. We're drunk as shit. We are not going anywhere to go get anything done right now.
Yeah.
We're going home and going to bed. I will deal with this when I get back to Austin." So we ended up back. I got the MRI, partial tear on my patellar tendon, so right behind the kneecap there. And then I was like, I was talking with the orthopedic surgeon. Get in there, and he's like, yeah, it's a 6-week physical therapy, and then he's like, then you're back playing again. It's like, but you can't make it any worse right now, unless there's a different type of injury to it. Like, you can't make it worse. I'm like, okay. He's like, if you can bear the pain, that's fine. I was like, Advil and ice, man, I got it. Oh, good.
Yeah,
Let's keep going, man. Let's have fun. Yeah. So I pushed it to early December here. So I'm like 6 weeks PT, holidays, not a lot going on anyway. I'll be back like mid-January. Surgery was December 4th. I'm like, I get back later that day, get on the couch. They gave me like the lowest low dose painkiller you could imagine. That was not just straight Tylenol. And I called them a couple hours. I was like, I don't know what the fuck this is, but this isn't like doing anything for me. Like, I am not okay. So they had to up my pain meds twice, and then it's actually probably why I slept like shit last night, because I'm like coming off of them now since I'm significantly better over this last week. But this Monday, so 2 weeks after the surgery, I was at physical therapy. It was my second physical therapy session. I was like, I don't know what the fuck is going on, man. Like, they told me 6 weeks. He looks at me. It's like, look at his paper. It's like, dude, you're looking at least 12 weeks, man. Uh-oh. I was like, what do you say? Started crying. I was like, what the fuck? Like, I can't do anything. I've lost all independence. Like, I can't do a single thing by myself. And he starts, it's like, I was like, what the fuck happened during the surgery? And his like starts reading off. He's like, yeah, so like, yeah, it was the tendon. He's like, but then there was a fracture in your kneecap. They had to cut some stuff out, like some fat pad behind the knee. And then they had to shave down a tendon. I was like, I had no idea of any of that. I thought they were just gonna get in, clean out a little bit of stuff around the kneecap, so like get proper blood flow so we can heal in 6 weeks to be good. He's like, no, like they legitimately cut shit out of your knee, and you have a fracture in your knee, in your kneecap. And I was like, that explains so much. Like, I thought I'd be like, a couple days later, I'd be able to get up the stairs and shit. Like, I didn't get off the couch for a week and a half. Like, I started to feel my glutes from sitting all day starting to atrophy. So I'm like trying to like flex them throughout the day just to kind of like keep them active and shit. It wasn't until this past Monday, so it's Saturday, so Monday, literally probably 14 days post surgery, was the first time that I was able to raise this leg, my left leg, without the help of my other leg or my hands.
Nice.
Yeah. So then Monday night, I was like, oh, all right. So like I can lift it. So then I'm sitting on the edge of the couch, and I'm like, I'm taking it like a workout, Yeah. So I'm like, well, I'm just gonna do leg raises then, Like I gotta like start getting this back in here, I'm like counting, I'm like trying to do sets and shit in my head of just like lifting my leg. And that was, Monday PT was, like not great. It was my second day. Thursday rolls around, Thursday morning, get into the car, prior to that, for the last 2 weeks, I've been having to hook my crutch underneath my left ankle to then lift my leg into the car, shuffle a little closer, readjust by lifting it further, into the car, and then hop in. It was like 5 minutes to get into the fucking car. Thursday, I sit, swing my legs on. I'm like, what the hell just happened there, man? It came out of nowhere. Get to PT. He's like, all right, man, hop up on the table. I was like, yeah, check this out, though. Sit, whoop, swing my legs up. He's like, oh, that was dope. I was like, right? That shit was cool. Yeah. And then I was like, Alex is starting to kind of figure out what we're going to be doing. I'm like, check this out, too. Legs going like this, I'm like holding them. He's like, what the fuck happened? I'm like, yeah, man, I don't know what happened, man. I just turned the corner out of nowhere. So by the end of the hour session, right, he's got me doing some glute bridges. He's got me doing wall sits, little tiny wall squats. Yeah, I'm only going down as far as my knee will allow me to go from a range of motion standpoint, since I'm still kind of fighting through a lot of the scar tissue there. But yeah, dude, it went from I couldn't lift my leg without the help of my hands or my other leg in session 2 on Monday, to Monday night being able to finally lift my leg, to Thursday doing wall squats. And the PT is laughing throughout it. And I'm like, what the fuck happened in these last 3 days? This is awesome. And he's like, I've never seen this quick of progression. It's I'm actually scared of the progression because we still got to get through the scar tissue. Yeah. And you're able to do all this shit already. Those exercises we'd be giving you at the 6-week mark. You're on your 3rd day of physical therapy. And he's like, if we don't get through that scar tissue and so you can straighten your knee, you're going to develop a gait. And I'm like, like a pimple. That'd be kind of cool, He's like, no, it's going to fuck up your whole body. It's all of your joints are going to be fucked up then. I was like, yeah. So today, every day since then has just been slowly getting better and better, man. And it went from me crying on the couch because I could not do a single thing by myself. I couldn't put my socks on by myself. I wore the same shit for a week. I was so dirty and disgusting. Dude, and fortunately I work from home, right?
Yeah.
I had, we were talking about community. So part of it too is I get energized talking to people, obviously, right? You've seen how this is going, we're both on the edge of our seats. And I didn't have that because I couldn't get off the couch. I wasn't able to go out anywhere. It was a really deep, dark time in that, I had lined up 3 hockey leagues. I lined up a dodgeball league. I've got a kickball tournament at the end of January in Vegas this year that I'm probably not going to be able to play in since it was supposed to be 12 weeks of PT. Well, I say probably. I'm definitely not going to be able to. As much as I would like to, I should not play for my overall health and well-being. And but I'm going to go out there and still coach. So it was a bunch of things that I had lined up, and I had gotten drafted into the next hockey league division up, right? So I just started playing ice hockey 5 months ago. First time learning to ice skate. I grew up playing roller hockey, so shooting and stick handling and stuff like that I could do. I just figured out how to ice skate 5 months ago after watching the Mighty Ducks. Literally, we watched the Mighty Ducks.
Such a good movie.
My partner and I turned to each other. I was like, I want to play ice hockey. I was like, yeah, let's go play ice hockey. Went to the rink. It was 2 laps around. I'm hitting crossovers and stuff like that, and he's glued to the boards. We get back to the bench. He's like, you fucking lied to me. I was like, I've never done this before, man. I don't know, So I took 3 learn to skate classes. I jumped in development league after the first 2 or 3 games there. I jumped into the next league up, and then ended up kind of leading. Weirdest thing, man. Weirdest thing. I ended up leading the league in goals and points scored. I'm like, I just learned to ice skate.
That's insane.
Dude, but it's you don't even think about it because I'm like, we're grown adults flying around the ice,
right,
having fun, laughing, and there's no checking, but there's contact, right? It's you're gonna catch a shoulder, someone's gonna fall into you, whatever, right? You're gonna go down, and it's oh my bad, occasionally there's back and forth and some, it's rarely once a season does someone drop the gloves and fight. And I'm like, dude, as long as you don't take out my knee or something like that, hit me all day. I actually don't give a shit. It's fun for me. You know? And I'm flying around there giggling. Someone's talking shit to me. I'm like, in their face laughing. I'm like, dude, this is awesome. And so the surgery, I'm like, 6 weeks of PT, cool. Captain from another team from the next division up reaches out, I want to draft you. I got a spot on my team. You into it? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Just so you know, I've got 6 weeks of PT. And he's like, I already know. I've talked to people. I know the whole deal. I got you on a sub. Don't worry about it. 2 days later, I found out that I had 12 weeks of PT, and I'm like, fuck, I'm fucking cried. Like randomly kept crying throughout the day because I was like, I can't do anything in my life,
Yeah.
And yeah, so I don't know, where I was kind of getting with that is, I have no idea what I was getting at with that. That's where I was going with that. But no, like now with the PT and stuff, it's been nice because I've got, something to reach for and like a goal, right? And I've got this 12-week timeline. I am someone who very much enjoys timelines and goal setting, right? Like I need that. 12 weeks, cool. I'm gonna try to do it in 10. Like I'm gonna try and do it faster than that. We'll see. I'll be 35 in February. I want to get this out of the way in a healthy way where I don't push it too hard so that way I can be 50 and continue playing sports. 60 playing sports, whatever it is. I don't want this to be a lingering thing. So as bad as I want to get out there and I want to play, and they just did the draft actually. So I'm in the league and I got a sub for it. I'm hopeful that I can catch a couple games at the back end of the season if allowed. But yeah, man, it's interesting. As fucked up as I was mentally for those first 2 weeks, the progress that I've seen the last couple of days, and it's definitely also part of it. Like I'm taking it like a workout. You know, like it is my leg workout currently.
Oh yeah.
And while it's not awesome because I'm just doing body weight leg raises, it's giving me goals and I'm measuring that and I can see the progress and you get excited. When you see progress you get excited.
Yeah.
And it's now I've got these goals of like, all right, I want to get back so I can get into this league and I can start playing, and then I want to get here, and it's like, all right, now I'm taking the shit seriously because I've got a goal at the end of it that I want to accomplish. So that was a rant, and I have no idea where the fuck we even started on that topic, man.
I think I just asked you what else is going on.
Yeah, okay. But, all right. I think I just said hi, and you just started talking.
Dude, there's one episode, shout out Marco. Everyone's been great, but I remember he was like episode 12, like way in the beginning, and he showed up in the evening, and since it was an evening episode, I was like, you want to share some whiskey? And I was like, yeah, I'm down to share some whiskey.
I talked about that with him. I was like, I know it's 11 a.m. when we were chatting on the phone. I was like, whiskey.
And I was debating, but then I was like, you know what? I really need to have a productive day, and if we start sipping on whiskey, I will do nothing
100%,
the rest of the day.
100%. Yeah, I'm like, I'm thankful you did it. I'm thankful you broke out the cold brew instead. So back to...
Here's what we'll do. This has been so much fun. You can come back for a second episode.
Done.
We'll do it in the evening. Your partner can come.
I was going to say,
have a few people hanging out if we want, and we'll bust out
Let's
the
make
drinks
it a party.
for episode
Let's
2.
make it a party.
Yeah.
Let's make it a board game social gathering type of thing.
We'll play
no fights.
Blockbuster.
Yeah, no fights though. Just a lot of yelling. And just a bunch of angry people.
Yeah.
While we're on podcasting.
Angry drunk people. So a couple things I thought of while you were talking. The last hockey game we went to, the one I mentioned to you before we started recording, I brought my buddy Ben, and he was like, I really hope a fight breaks out. And sure enough, one of the players on the opposing teams took a stick and just hit the Stars player on his back. So he turns around, the Stars player turns around, he clocks this guy in his face, knocks his helmet off, and while he's still recovering from that, he gives him a gut punch, and while he's doubled from that, he pulls his jersey above his head, lifts him, backs up, and then just starts hitting him over and over again.
Yes.
Knocks the dude out cold before the refs
that's
could show
rare.
up.
So that's rare. That's awesome.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
We were
scary and awesome
lit
at the same
up,
time.
dude. We were like, yeah!
Oh, dude, as a fan, hell yeah.
It was
I am
great.
losing my mind if I saw that.
And Ben was just like, oh my God, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Best game ever.
Yeah, I don't even give a fuck what happens the rest of this game, man.
No,
I'm on edge. I love it.
And they won too. They kicked their asses. It was like 6-2, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
7-3.
Oh, it's a good game. It's not so fun when there's no fight and no goals.
Right.
It's actually kind of.
But then when you have fights
and
goals,
a lot of goals. Yeah.
But a story for you is I back in March I went to Dallas for a night to see a concert, and the next morning,
Who'd you say?
You ever heard of the Broken View? Those guys right there?
I have not.
They're awesome.
Okay.
Check them out. They have a mix of half their stuff is like good workout music,
Yeah.
and the other half of it is like very sad, emotional.
It gets you in your feelings.
My lady
Gets you in your
broke up with
feelings,
me.
yeah.
You know.
Gets you all in your feelings.
Yeah.
So they cover both ends of the spectrum when it
They
comes
do.
to emotional aspects. That's
Yeah.
good. It's good for them.
And they got when this episode comes out, their new album might be releasing, so to go check them out on Spotify. But I was staying at my buddy's place. And for some reason, at his house, all their steps on their staircase are like equal, and then there's one that's like double the length.
Okay.
So I wake up
Yeah.
at 6 a.m. after being up and drinking until 3 a.m. I'm stumbling down the staircase,
good.
and on the step, I go to take the next step, forgot it was 3 times the length, and so I start falling. And the only thing I knew to do was just to plant my left foot as soon as it hits the ground. So
Yeah,
I did, and I immediately felt this like
I was gonna say definitely hyperextended your knee.
yeah.
100%.
So got an X-ray. They were like, "Good news, nothing's broken." So let's have you do an MRI. Got the MRI, and they were like 6 weeks physical therapy, same as you. And what's crazy is shout out to Ryan at Texas Orthopedics. I am no pain, completely pain free.
Dude,
And it's
love
crazy that like just by going through his hour-long workouts, those were also my leg day workouts for
Yeah,
those 6 weeks. I don't know how he did it, but I just did whatever that man told me to do, and he got it right again. And now I'm
love it,
squatting
man.
again, doing my normal leg day stuff, deadlifting, glute bridges, all the good stuff.
Nice.
But physical therapy, dude, it's
hurts.
insane.
It hurts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it hurts good.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
he's still. I've got. So I've got like a lot of scar tissue still, right? So now the concern is right that I'm not gonna be able to walk correctly if I progress too quickly. So he's trying to get through that and push my knee flat, so that way I can straighten out my leg. Around the table, I'm like, yo, this sucks, because he's pushing down on it and trying to like get through it. And I'm like, here, can you like, are you gonna like, if we push this too hard, it's gonna injure it? And he's like, you're not gonna injure it. He's like, it's gonna hurt, but you're not gonna injure it. I'm like, but I can't injure it. And he's like, nope. I was like, fuck it, like go. I'll deal with the pain. Just do it, So he's just spent like 2 minutes just pushing it down. I've been sitting with weights on there since, but yeah, man, it's not fun. It's definitely not fun. But definitely being in the right mindset and being excited about it, like there's no doubt that positive energy and mindset around it helps, right? Yeah. You mentioned you're back in the gym and you're squatting. What are you squatting again?
I don't even go heavy anymore.
You're on a podcast and no one knows what you're squatting, so you can add some weight to that right now.
3,600.
Yes, perfect. I don't know. It's probably like close to a ton, something like that. Yeah.
Dude, it's not a lot. I'm still in my head about it. So even though I haven't felt any pain in about a month or two, I'm progressing really slowly and just going more. Dude,
Good.
the other
You
day,
gotta take it easy, man.
me and my friend, he was like, "Since you're going light, you want to do a 10x10 with 135?"
You're like, this is fucking heavy for me. What do you mean this is light?
yeah. He's like, "What are you talking about?" If you get back to squatting, when you get back to squatting, if you do a 10x10, it was
10 by 10's
insane. We were
brutal.
dead after.
Yeah.
Dude, the 2 days later, I've never been so sore in my life.
Yeah. Those are intense sets. My bodybuilding my coach Cornelius Parkin out of North Carolina at CDCon on Instagram. So he'll have me do one of the phases of my workout is super high rep shit, right? So we're talking leg press after squatting and hack squatting, then a leg press, and it's 6 sets, single leg presses, no stopping though. So left, as many as you can get, right, as many as you can get. There's 0 rest between them for 6 sets. And the first time I did it, I texted him, and I was like, dude, what the fuck is this? And he's like, yeah, it's good, right? I was like, it keeps getting worse. The pain keeps getting worse, and I stopped the workout like 2 minutes ago. I was like, there's so much lactic acid just still continuing to flow. I was like, I literally cannot move. I was just laying on the ground. Things like those are, man, some of those workouts though, like it's just so high.
Yeah.
It's just pumps the blood, like it feels awesome, but man, does that shit hurt.
Yeah. All right, I gotta ask you one serious question.
Okay.
Because we might wrap up soon.
Oh boy.
So you seem to me like an incredibly confident guy. even in like the last couple weeks when you've been in maybe one of the darker phases of your adult life, you still showed up today. We've laughed a ton. You seem like you're confident. You know where you're going. I think I told you on the phone, maybe I did, maybe I didn't, that 65% of the audience for this podcast is 24 years old or younger. So we got a lot of teens, people graduating high school, people trying to answer the question like, what am I going to do with my life? So if you were to talk to them for a couple minutes, and you can go any route you want with this, you could go career, you could go confidence, you could go community. But if you were to speak directly to the audience for a couple minutes and just impart some advice to them, knowing what stage of their life they're at, what do you think you'd want to tell them or share with them?
So you're saying like younger 20s and below.
Yeah.
All right. So kind of back to what we were talking earlier, right? Like my life philosophy is always like life is about creating stories, right? And that's what I would say to them. Like, you are young enough at that point in time, take the risk. Do a little bit of everything. Put yourself in positions that are uncomfortable. Push yourself. Do things you wouldn't normally do that are outside of your comfort zone. Because even if it's not something that works out, you've got a story out of it, and that is going to be part of your life that you will be able to tell and look back on fondly, regardless of the outcome, typically, unless something really bad happens. And if so, do not blame me for that. But that's what it's about, is, getting out there and trying things and putting yourself, finding what excites you, being passionate about it, and just putting yourself into new opportunities to go and just experience life in a different capacity than what you're used to, because cool things happen when you try new things and put yourself in positions like that. And I've had friends be like, oh, you're so lucky, blah blah blah, like, you've had this, like things fall your way. And I'm like, it's not luck though. Like, it's luck in regards to the fact that I have put myself in a position for things, if they go well, to fall that way. And that, I think, is what is the most important aspect of it, is you need to take the risk, the jump, put yourself into a position for things to pan out in a way where people are like, damn, like, you're lucky. And you're like, you didn't see what just all happened before this, though, The only way that happens is if you take the risk, you make the jump, especially if you're 24 or 25, a little younger. Even, I'm 34 right now, I'm 35 in February. Even now, there's so much more life to live that putting yourself in those situations now, right, if it doesn't pan out, it doesn't pan out. I've got another, hopefully, 40, 50 years of living, like, it's a road bump. It's a bump in the road. And what's a life worth living if you've, just stay within your comfort zone and don't have cool shit happen or things to try that you can talk about, in the future, man. Don't you want to look back on life and be able to, like, put together, like, if you look back and you were, like, writing a story, you were using ChatGPT to write your life story for you, right? And it's like, the only way that becomes interesting to people, or to yourself even, and to look back fondly when you can no longer do things, is if you are doing things when you are capable of doing it. That's the biggest thing.
I've had that comment made to me a couple times about the podcast of like, oh, you're so lucky to have that show or that guest or whatnot. And I agree 100%. Luck has nothing to do with it. Like, people don't, they only see the episodes, right?
Totally.
They see the episode that drops every Saturday.
They see the number of people that are subscribed and watching, the people that you have on, like, They don't see, like, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I probably spent every morning from like 9 to noon this week, I was just like editing episodes, and they don't see that side of it. And I hate that side of it. When I started this, I didn't think about, I thought I could just have Dave over and we could have a fun conversation. And then like, oh, I got to edit this thing. I got to market this thing so people actually know that it's there. And I do think like, after being 100 episodes in, if you work hard at anything, practice makes perfect. It's super cliche, but yeah, man, I agree with that 100%. Figure out what you love. Try stuff you've never tried before. The other thing that I wanted to say, based off your comment about stories, is just the other night, with episode 100 coming up on January 18th, I went and scrolled through. Thank you. That's huge.
It's really huge. I can't wait. I don't know who the guest is going to be yet. I had someone lined up, and unfortunately, he wasn't. He told me last Thursday he wasn't able to make it. So I'm having to pivot pretty hard right now. I'm like, all right, who are we going to have on? But
one of those UT hockey players. That's what you want.
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe. But I was. in my chair. Thad was on my lap. He was sleeping, and I just.
Thad's also his dog, just to be
Thad
clear.
is the dog.
Yeah. We need to clarify
Like,
this. It's
who's
always
on
out of the
that?
picture right now. Like, we need to make sure
The
they know.
dog was sleeping on my lap, and I just went through and was scrolling through all the episodes, and just like, man, this is 100 stories that I've collected. Like, this is so freaking cool.
Dude, and they'll live forever. They're documented. They're out there. You know, like even if 40 years from now, like the format of how we consume content and videos changes, which it will, obviously, right? You'll be able to convert it, and those will live, and then other people 40 years from now would be like, oh, you know, you'll be able to share that with people still. Like, that's so fucking cool, man. You're documenting it all.
Yeah.
Like, that's part of a legacy that you get to leave and you know, and share with people.
It's funny. My mom made a comment to me the last time I was home, and she said, she was like, I know I don't watch the podcast, and I'm sorry.
She doesn't want to know what you're talking about. She doesn't want to know you're going to
Dude,
the
there are
beach.
some crazy stories that I've shared on here where I would prefer she not listen. So sometimes I'm like, maybe it's a good thing.
Yeah.
But she made the weirdest comment to me, and she's like, if you like, for some crazy reason you pass away before I do, you better know that I'll watch every second of every episode you've ever released. And it did make me think, like, this is sort of cool that this is out here, and as long as the internet's still live and no one takes it down because like China gets afraid of the Bitcoin or whatever the fucking reason someone would
Do not mention that out here, otherwise you might get blocked or hacked or something, man. You can't be doing that.
No, sorry, I might clip that out. But yeah, dude, it is legacy building. And it's sort of cool.
Yeah. This is the equivalent of you writing a book and having it available for anyone to pick up and read. And that's this is just a different form of content for you to tell your stories.
Yeah.
It's so cool, man. And what you got going on here is awesome.
Appreciate that. So one thing I've been doing is I also, shocker, listen to a ton of podcasts, and whenever I hear a question that I really like, I like to ask it of my guests.
Okay.
So this is a new tradition. Well, it's not new anymore. I've been doing this for about a year. But the most recent question I really like that I wanted to ask you, and you sort of answered this already, but I'm going to ask it anyways.
All right, well, then I feel a little bit better about this question.
I think you'll like this one.
Okay.
What do you think separates a good story from a great story?
Ooh. Well, all right. In the context of how that story is consumed, the storyteller, how the story itself is told, obviously, right? Like, if that is being shared with someone, if you are sharing that. Now, the story, as it is meant for you, as an individual that is living through that story, I would say how much it pushed you, how different it was from your day-to-day, and how much it made you step outside of your typical comfort zone, how you felt about it, the emotions that you had throughout it, good or bad, and then how it's impacted you moving forward. I think that's what makes a good or a great story.
Could I ask you a very personal question?
Sure.
And then after you answer, I'll give some context as to why I'm asking. What's your partner's name? First name?
Also David. That's why he's
Shut
not here right
up.
now, because I'm like, there can only be two in
They
a
would
room.
be so confused.
Yeah.
And when you said he might come, I even almost grabbed a third mic and I was going to have it ready for him just
that
so
would
if
be
you
not
wanted
his
to
thing.
pop
That
up.
would 100% not be his thing. He is very much more of the, I'd rather be back. I am the one who is very much like everywhere. Yeah.
How did you guys meet?
Met online.
Really?
Met online. First date, he stood me up. Not actually. I always joke about that. But we were going to Cosmic Brewing, like Cosmic Coffee and Brewing.
Yeah.
I'd never been there. So, I show up. I'm like, oh, this is like a cool spot. I've been wanting to go here. I'm like, good spot, good start. An hour into it, I'm sitting at the bar. This was pre-COVID. So they had a band with brass, like a brass band playing internally. There's nothing more that gets me excited, like a brass band or someone with a violin or like something like that going. So I'm vibing out anyway. I'm chilling. I'm having some drinks, talking to everyone else around me, obviously. Clearly I enjoy talking. And, like an hour, I was, 45, an hour into it. I'm like, it's not showing, whatever. It's a cool spot, so I don't really care. I'm having fun. I'm meeting all these people anyway. I listen to this band. It's dope. Who cares? Text me like an hour and a half. Hey, sorry, I fell asleep. I had a migraine. My ex had migraines So I've just kind of done, I've lived through them from a partner perspective, done some research on them, things like that. So it's like, all right, like I understand that you have the positive going for you of the fact that you chose a great spot. So we'll get another chance at this. We'll meet up tomorrow. I ended up hanging out there for like 3-4 hours. I made friends with the families, the band, their family and
Yeah.
stuff. I'm hanging out with everyone. It was like, we got there at like 8 o'clock or so. I think I left at like midnight on like a Tuesday. I was like, dude, this is awesome. I can, I'm gonna have fun anyway. I don't really care. But it's a great spot. So that's how we met. And I just always kind of like to hang that little bit over his head. So we got 5 years coming up January 1st.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
One thing I've been doing differently since being in Austin is back in Sacramento. Dude, I like overuse the apps, whether it was like Tinder, Grindr, Bumble, you name it.
It's toxic.
It is.
Yeah, it's addicting, man.
So one thing I've been doing new in Austin is if I ever see someone, if I'm in HEB or at the gym or whatever, and I see someone I find attractive, I'll just walk up to them and I'll just be like, "Hey man, sorry to interrupt your shop. I wanted to ask you if I could take you out on a date." Scariest thing ever.
Yeah,
it's terrifying.
Yeah. What is this? 1990? I'm just kidding.
Well, I am an old man, so maybe that's just my 90s roots coming out.
You say you're an old man. We're not very far apart.
No, we're not.
Far.
We're not old at all. We are kids at heart. I feel like
that much is true.
But dude, while it is
that's good,
terrifying,
man. Good for you for putting yourself out there like that.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It's well, I don't know about fun, but ironically,
it's different.
I've had a couple people come on the pod where maybe it started out and they were like, "Well, no, I'm either straight or I have a partner already or whatever the thing is." But as a result of it, I've also just started like talking to people. Anytime I'm either like at the gym, in the grocery store, this is a list of every single person, even though you can't see like the specifics. This is all the people that I've approached in Austin.
Oh my god!
And had a conversation.
Oh my
with.
gosh!
And then I'll just jot down a little note about like what did we talk. Oh, Noah sat next to him on a plane. He was coming here for a bachelor party too. Probably will never see the guy again, especially since he doesn't live here.
Shout out Noah from the plane ride.
Shout out Noah from the plane ride if you happen to be listening. But dude, it's just been like even that of just approaching like hundreds of people and having these like mini conversations. Some of them have turned into very good friends, workout buddies, podcast guests. The bulk of them I'll never see again. But when you were talking about like putting yourself out there and doing things that are uncomfortable and things you've never done before, and like that in and of itself is just a story of just
100%. Each one of those, you've got notes on each one of them. Each one of those is a story.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's cool. The fact that you did that, too, like, and took notes. And question for you. Now that you've been doing that, how is it less uncomfortable than when you started doing it?
Yeah. It almost comes naturally now.
Yeah.
There's even a guy at the gym who I'll leave unnamed, but my workout buddy and me went out to dinner after Lift the other night, and he was like, how do you know that guy? Or when did you meet? What did he ask? When did you meet him? I was like, I actually just met him like a month ago when we started going to that gym. And he's like, how did you meet him? And I was like, well, I just said hi to him one day. And then that turned into a slightly longer conversation the next time we were at the gym. And that turned into a longer conversation. Now we're homies. And what was your question? Sorry. Or is it easier to approach people?
I'm going to hold up my question. I'm just going to let you go. Let's see where this goes. But yeah, that was a question. Yeah.
It's very easy now. It's almost like I don't even if I'm going into a conversation specifically to ask someone out, the nerves are almost as big as they were the first time.
Yeah.
But when it's vulnerable and you don't know how people are going to react and they don't know you and I don't know them.
Yeah.
But if I'm approaching someone just platonically to say,
like, what? Oh, you think I'm gay? You're like, fuck, man. That's not what. Yeah.
Well, dude, what the thing is with that is I thought the nerves were big, not because I was asking someone else, because I was afraid of like what if they reacted like that. But the very first guy, I still remember him. It was an HEB. He was serving beer. He was doing beer testers for their company. And so I asked him, I was like, hey man, can I take you on a date? And he was like, unfortunately I'm straight. I have a girlfriend. And I said, no worries, dude. You were just so handsome. Like I knew I would be kicking myself all night if I didn't say anything. He took the compliment so well. He lit up ear to ear, like smiling. He was beaming. He's like, dude, like good on you for doing that. Like Joe. Let's go with Joe.
Yeah,
He's like, I'm Joe. I was like, I'm David. We
Yeah.
chit-chatted for a few minutes. But of the 12, 13, 14 guys that I've hit on, I've used the exact same line every time of like, hey, can I take you on a date? No worries. I thought you were super handsome. I don't know if like guys just don't get compliments. I don't know what it is, but seeing these guys like light up at such a small compliment of I just thought you were so handsome I would regret not asking you.
Yeah.
They fucking love it.
Did we talk about this in our prep?
Nope.
No, when we chatted the other day. Dude, all right. So the fact that you just mentioned that, so spot on. Because I do it too, right? Where not with asking people out, but like, right? There's so much. We did talk about how there's so much shitty things that happen, you know. People look at like, why is there so many mean people, right? And like things like that, you know. And it's caused a lot of people probably to be closed off, and like the fact that you're putting yourself out there like that and then giving those compliments, right? And I always do this where it's like if I see someone's shoes or like their shirt or whatever, like I purposely go out of my way to be like, yo, I really like those, it's dope, you know. You see the pep in their step, the smile that hits their face, like you're like, that person's day just is made, like, you know. And it's like, especially, you know, some people, myself included, you know, you kind of, maybe it's a new shirt, right? You're a little self-conscious because it's kind of putting it out there a little bit, something different, kind of outside your comfort zone. Like, you know, is someone going to comment on us? I got to deal with that shit. And then you get a compliment on it. Boom! Like, your day is, you are walking on cloud 9, man. You feel so damn good. And it's so cool to, like, you know, right? My Instagram tagline is, what is it? Happiness? Something shared.
Happiness is only real when shared.
There you go. Thank you. And that's kind of like along the lines of like, you know, putting that out into the world and being able to influence and change someone's day by something as like, hey, you're really good looking. I like your shoes. I like that shirt. You know, whatever it is like, dude, you see they flip a switch. They're walking on, you know, you know, it's fucking cool, man. It's so cool when you can like watch how it changes. And I just wish there was more of that.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, hey,
be in a better world.
Anyone that listened to this today, try giving someone a compliment.
One a day. Do one a day. Someone random.
You will probably get more out of it than they will.
You feel so
because
damn
when
good.
you know you're the source of making someone's day, that's just like one of the best feelings in the world.
Yeah. Because like when you do, then you're ear to ear smile too, right? Yeah. And they both are smiling, and then both of you are walking away with smiling, and then smiling is contagious, you know.
Yeah.
And do that. I like that. I like that challenge.
I'll give a quick shout out for something that someone did for me recently. The guy with the black polo, the second from the left, that's Tyler.
Yeah,
that guy. He's my workout buddy. He's a good friend. And
this is the band.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
cool.
they're Austin based. They were New York based. They did a tour in 2023. They came on the podcast, and we became friends naturally. And then they moved out here. Now we're like, he's my dog. But he came out. He turned on one of the podcasts, and there's this very subtle, and you probably can't hear it unless you turn the volume up all the way on one of the first like 80 episodes or so. But he heard it.
He's not going to tell you what episode, so you got to go back and watch
you're
all
gonna have
80.
to go all 80. Sorry. But he knows that I'm not very technically inclined. It's just like all this is not my forte. My forte is sitting down with someone and asking them hopefully good questions. Dude, he came over the other day and he just tinkered on this for like 3 hours. And on our next workout, I was like, thank you for doing that. By the way, I didn't even ask you, why did you do that? And he was like, well, dude, I just like, that is my side of things. Like, I don't really want to be on the podcast. I don't really want to be on mic. I don't think I have a lot to share, but like, I believe in you and I believe this podcast is going to go somewhere. So if I can come over and help you with one of your weaknesses to make it that much better as you go, so that the next 100 episodes are like even higher quality, of course I'm going to do that for you. And dude, that meant the world to me. Like for him, it didn't really mean that much. It's just like, I'll came over. That's just what he does. He's a sound mixer. Yeah. Hit him up for sound mixing. You can find him on Instagram at Tyler Hayes, I believe is his handle. But yeah, dude, it meant the world for me.
You probably gotta check that. It's gonna be a different Tyler Hayes, and he's gonna have like thousands of followers overnight. It's like, what the hell did this come from?
Like, why are these people asking me to mix their albums? I'm an accountant. But yeah, man, it means so much to have like. No one had ever said that out loud.
Yeah.
No one had been like, I believe that this podcast is going to go somewhere. I think it. I know it.
Dude, this is awesome. This is fun as hell, man. I'm having a blast.
It's a great time.
It's gonna do something, man. This is good stuff.
Yeah.
This is cool. Yeah. Nah, it's for like just little acts like that, that are like nothing for someone else, and even like that, what you were saying, like. Now your mindset's changed.
Yeah.
Now you got new energy around it. You're reaching out to people, trying to get new guests on. Like, you're excited about it. You're learning new shit, doing the research, and like you're getting into it. It's fucking cool, man.
Yeah.
I love it. Shout out to Tyler here. So is this the first one since he's tinkered with it?
It is actually.
Hell yeah. Thank you, Tyler. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, I did. That
gonna sound really good coming through here.
It sounds great. Yeah, we did a little test. I don't even want to call it an episode, but after he was done tinkering, we fired everything up and we just talked about nothing for 10 minutes. But then we turned it on, and he played around with the cameras too, because the lighting settings were different on them, and it just looked and sounded so good that when you were coming, when we booked this today, I was like, I can't wait to have a real episode where it's just gonna like look and sound fucking crisp as fuck.
Love it. Cool, man. I'm excited for it. Thank you, Tyler.
Thank you, Tyler.
Good stuff.
Well, man, let's wrap this thing up.
Cool.
Was there anything you wanted to talk about that we failed to bring up? Dude, we truly just went for it. Like,
yeah, I had no idea what to expect coming into the.
Did you have fun?
Oh, dude, this was a blast. Like, I'm holding you to the next one that you said.
Yeah.
The evening one with whiskey and a board game.
Let's do it.
100%.
Yeah,
I'm in.
I have one person I might not. No, I'm just kidding. I want to have him over because his energy.
It's the Hobbit guy. We get it. Yeah.
Who's ironically one of those 4 people.
It's clearly not Tyler. Yeah, nah, man, this is cool. We covered so much. Obviously, it's like as soon as this wraps up, I'm like, damn it, I wish I touched on that topic. But now, man, for those listening, like, I love the challenge of one compliment a day.
Yeah.
To someone random, just whatever. I like your shoes. Something like that. Well, just watch how it turns around their day. It's cool, man. And yeah, just create stories.
Yeah.
Create stories. Life's about stories, man. Go travel. Go do something different than what you do every single day. And just put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Good things happen when you do that, and good people get drawn to you that way. And it's good, man. It's good. Just want to put good energy out into the world.
If you want an easy person to compliment, you compliment a gym dude on anything.
Oh, yeah.
That's nice arms, nice shoulders, nice. It doesn't even matter what you say.
Yeah.
That's an easy one.
Yeah,
right
100%.
there.
You want to piss him off, you tell him you look small.
Yeah.
Yeah, otherwise you tell him you're looking big. Yeah, man, that's a good one. That's funny. I like that.
Well, this was a super fun time, Dave. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it. To the audience, thank you guys. Did you know we went for 2 hours and 15 minutes already?
I had no idea. I was like, in my mind, I was like, how did we go?
Like, is it 30
2 hours and 15 minutes. Like, we didn't even stop for a break.
No.
I can't wait to go to the bathroom after this, man.
I know, me too. I've been chugging all kinds of drinks since we've been on this thing.
Yeah. No, that was awesome. Wow. This is fun.
This was super fun. Audience, love you guys. If you haven't yet, I think at this point, only about 10% of you have taken the time to either give us a 5-star review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or subscribe to the YouTube channel. And the reason that I ask you guys to do this is because I do feel like super fun conversations. Like, for you and me, this was a super fun time.
This was
but
natural.
For like a teenager, one of the people that I mentioned who listens to the show, this could have like completely changed their perspective and been like, you know what? I'm going to go out today. I'm going to compliment someone. I'm going to join a sports league. And it could like drastically shift their perspective on their current state of life. And I don't know who that person is, but I do want to reach them. So I'm not asking for your money. I'm not asking you to subscribe on Patreon. All I want you to do is to help me grow the show to whoever could need to hear this episode. So please take 3 minutes and go leave one or all of those 5 stars for me so we can reach those kids. And in the meantime, Happy New Year. And I hope all of you have a healthy and happy Saturday night.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. We're not past it yet.
Yeah.
But by the time this comes out, it will definitely be January.
Well, in that case, then I hope you all had a happy holidays.
Yeah, but to you, since we're not at Christmas
Happy
yet,
holidays.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. And yeah.
'Tis the season. 'Tis the season for giving.
Yes, it is.
There you go. Go give that compliment.
All right, everyone. Be well. We'll see you next week.